they'll be waiting for you when you are doing the things you love. And that really holds true for everything that you do. So for those of you who are here for the very first time about what Awesome Walkers is and how I started the journey with it all, just the simple concept that I loved having conversations, and I just wanted to get a few people come into the room and have some interesting conversations. For the simple fact that I realized we can all learn from other people's lives and journeys. There's nothing more complicated than that. And when people ask me how often are you going to do it, and I asked them, they said, let's do it once or twice a month, that's it. And I said, no, I'm going to do it every week because I want to meet amazing people week after week after week. And as I was doing this, what I realized is, when I started looking back after 100 sessions, I was exercising the muscle of asking questions. I was exercising my conversation skills. And I didn't know it, but I've had friends and people who come into this room regularly who say, Samir, the way you ask questions has improved over time. The way you show up has improved over time. And that applies to all of us. If there's something that we're doing, and if you're in the flow, magic happens. But if you're doing the things that you don't love, there's always resistance. And then it becomes difficult. And so I've been chasing Raj for how many months now?
A handful.
A few months now,
Yeah.
Looks like.
And you know, everything is meant to happen when it is supposed to happen. That's it. And if I had met him, and if he had come over here a couple of months ago, I don't know if the format that we're going to explore today would have happened. But today, I'm going to try this during the second session. So the first session, we're going to have only one featured guest where for the longest time since I ever started, I've always had two featured guests. Today, we're going to have only one featured guest. And the second one would be us having a conversation around topics where we try to discover answers to solutions, to problems, or questions that we all been looking for. So before most of you came into the room, I said, how do you create transformation in lives? How do you create transformation in people? It's not by telling them what to do. It's by asking and arriving at shared answers. And that is going to be the objective of what we do in the second half. So what I've done is I've kept a paper and a box over there. What you can do is anonymously write your question. And it could be during the break after Raj's conversation that we have today, that when you're listening, you might have new thoughts and new questions triggered in your mind. What I say every week is,
The headphones change.
when someone comes and sits over here, focus on the message and not the messenger. See
If
what
the
it is that you
headphones
can take
change,
away
like
and
the
apply the principles of action.
if the
Apply. See what
sound
it is that you
cancelling
apply in
goes
your
away,
life.
don't worry.
See change. See what is that you can
It
change.
might just change the
about
way it
you do
sounds,
things.
but it's no problem.
Teach. See what is that you can teach someone. And if you're not doing any one of these three things,
No, don't worry.
then you're wasting your time and life over here in this room. You don't need to be here. Nobody has to be here at all. There are times when I was asked how many people are going to be in the audience, and it doesn't really matter. We're just having a conversation. And for me, it is about seeing what can I learn. And you should be here with the same intent. And I know you're here with the same intent, but take it to the next level by applying the principles of ACT. So for those of you who are wondering why the socks are different, what happened is when I started off the session, there's a friend of mine who said, why are we wearing different colors? Why are you not wearing any socks or anything? I said,
The one sock.
yeah, I know, it's there. So when I started off, it was about, so how many of you are new to Awesome Walkers for the very first time, right? There are a few of you here. Awesome Walkers are the ones who walk their talks. So it's not about walking anything. And I said, they're the ones who walk their talk. Somebody has walked their dog. No, there are no dogs over here. We're not taking anyone for a walk. But it's about the ones who walk their talk and they do it with a huge group of awesomeness. And when I started the show and started doing it, there was no footwear, there was nothing. And then my friend, he sent me a pair of colored socks and said, wear different colored socks. So today it's a symbolic representation that you can be unique and you can be different, and it's okay. You don't have to conform to society in every way. And when you can embrace your own uniqueness, when you can embrace your circle of genius, when you can embrace who you are in its true sense, the magic that will flow through you is amazing. And then you will not have the fear of judgment of what people will think, because you're fueled by your own passion. If you see the photo frames, they're empty over there for a reason. It's a reminder to everyone that you don't have to have everything sorted out before you start your journey. You don't need to have your degrees and certificates and diplomas or experience or whatever it is that you want in life before you start whatever you want to start. Just go out, start. Just get going. And not try. I would say don't try, because if you try, then you never do. A lot of people.
It's a definition.
Yeah, for me, I get it completely. I used to use that word for the longest time in my life, and somebody asked me, lift this card from here. You can never try and lift it. You can only lift it or not lift it. There's no try. There's nothing in between, they told me.
If you don't have the courage to try, then still be on the floor.
So that answers some other questions as well, what Farry was asking, which we'll come to in the next session, which is connected to what he just said. But you know what we do, right?
Warm
Your hands.
up your hands.
Take them apart,
Take them apart.
put them together for Raj Kotecha.
Hey,
Hey man.
it's the first time we're actually meeting.
Yes.
How you doing?
Doing good, man.
What's up? What's up? Hey everyone, how's it going? Hi. So how many do we have here? 3, 4, 5? There's about 15 people. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We can fill this time up real good.
Yes.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank
It's
you for
nice to be here.
accepting. Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, so tell me, what's we have a conversation today? Is that what's
Yes.
happening?
So it's all about you and your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing about me.
Right.
Uh,
We'll find ways. We'll find ways to
That's why I put it-
shuffle you in the cards. Yeah.
But tell us about you. Just put us into context about who is Raj.
So I work in the field of creative content. I make social media and content for business people and business brands. So it's not going to be the advert you see at the Super Bowl for Coca-Cola.
Okay.
It's going to be more business to business content. I've in recent years, since I've been in Dubai the last 4 years, worked with several global CEOs in the hotel space and otherwise. But so that's the end stop, and then the beginning part is I'm what's called an East African Asian.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents were in the colony in the UK in India under the British Raj. My grandparents were.
Okay.
They moved to East Africa like a lot of Asians did.
Which country?
They were in Kenya. So
Okay.
dad's from Mombasa, mom's from Nairobi.
Okay.
So dad is a beach bum,
Okay.
mom is a city girl. So you can understand that there's two strong ingredients in the cocktail straight away, and our story is similar to probably around 1 million brown kids in the UK, which is I'm a shopkeeper's son, grew up in a 2-bedroom flat above a convenience store with my mom, my dad, my little sister, my uncle, and both my grandparents. So 7 of us in about 2.5 bedrooms. It was an incredible time in one sense because you've seen that like the third Batman where he's fighting against Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody seen that? And then Bane says to him that you came into the darkness, I was born here.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really interesting that now that everyone's into entrepreneurship and making money and hustling and all that other stuff, that it's something that for most people has happened post-internet, whereas
Yeah.
I was born in the mouth of that lion.
Yeah.
So listening to the sound of a till in the cash register,
Yeah.
like having my bed directly above a doorbell for the shop
Mhm.
is how I was raised. Tricky times in the 1980s and like mid-90s because I was in a very working class part of West Manchester. Anybody heard of Manchester? Manchester United is probably like the main stake in the ground, right? So I was raised on the west side of that area, not very mixed, mostly like rough working class white people that were not as au fait with different cultures. And so that meant that a portion of my life was, working with my hands, fighting, you know, defending myself. I haven't grown that much since I was 18 years old. I'm sure you'll find that easy to believe. So you know, when you're 5'6", you know, you have to leverage your strengths. And I think for me, one of my strengths was always talking and the gift of the gab. So 18 years old, go to university, which is always part of the plan. Once I got to university, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of girls here. And I'm 5'6" and I have no swag whatsoever, other than knowing how to like open a cash register. So.
But you're good at talking by then.
I'm good at talking by then, and literally, you know, it's so amazing that we're having this conversation this week, because as of last week or this week, depending on, you know, a very phased memory of my freshers week, my first week of university, this week I would say, or the end of last week, is exactly 20 years since I started hustling to the weeks doing tickets for parties. So roughly 20 years ago today, I stood out on Oxford Street, which is the main street outside where all the where university kids go. I met a guy there. There was like different crews of people that threw parties for the students. There was a black crew, there was a brown crew, there was a white crew. You know, like, because people roughly like different types of music, whether it's Bhangra or R&B and hip hop or rock music or whatever. This is in the 90s, before the internet kind of mashed all music together. And I firstly went to this black crew, and I was like, you know, this guy's name was Aeon, God bless him, I don't know where he is today. But so me and the guy that I just dragged out onto the street with me, we went back to the student apartment, up to the top floor, and just literally did this. And knocked on every door, and just came down the fire exits over and over again. We sold all the tickets that we needed to sell, and then some. Word got around in the streets to all the different crews, so the Asian crews came around, the white crews came around, everyone was like, yo, who are these two young kids? Just shout out to my partner Near at the time. And we ended up selling tickets for everybody, different people, which is weird in Manchester, because for those of you who are not like familiar with towns like that or the streets, that if you want to make money from parties and things of that nature, in a town which is quite a rough town with a lot of gangsters, then everybody who's selling tickets or everybody who's doing parties needs backups in the streets.
Yeah.
Like needs the right gangsters behind them. Even the bouncers are all gang affiliated. So you need to know how to maneuver around that. So we were fortunate in the sense that we made it kind of like, we made it so that our ticket sales spoke. So jump forward a couple of years.
So you were not backed by any gang?
No, but everybody who was backed by gangs was backing us, because we were obviously bringing people to their parties. So jump forward a couple of years, somebody tested my nerves we started our own little DJ crew. Somebody tested my nerves. He was like, listen, you have to start your own party. I was like, I'm not out here trying to get killed in these streets, like doing my own party. But eventually he pushed me over the top, because there was this new style of music that was becoming very popular called garage music. So if you've heard of, like, you know, Little Bit of Luck, we actually launched that single with MC Neat in Manchester and Monster Boy, I'm Sorry, and all that. Went great, things were going good. I was also doing at the same time, so I've always had two lives. It's always yin yang. That's my hustling street life. At the same time, I'm at university doing a degree in business and IT with management. Jump fast forward to like April 2000, NASDAQ crashes, the first .com like bubble bursts. And Y2K, yeah. A little after that, you know, NASDAQ crashed. All the big companies with high valuations kind of took a real burn. I think Amazon at that time was down to like $6. Now it's at 2,000 on the share price. So I come out of university thinking, crap, I can't use this technology degree for too much. So I end up working in wholesale, selling designer fragrances to retailers. And I work in content now, but the version of content that I was doing in those days was taking 25 pages of catalogs with fragrances in, like Gucci, Ralph Lauren, photocopying them, putting them in envelopes, and literally sending 400, 500, 600 envelopes to retailers all around the country, whether it's mom and pop pharmacies with one store right through to international retailers. I found out that Canada hadn't been hit hard by the recession. So I called up one of my partners who joined our crew that I was hustling with. I was like, listen, things are still stable in Canada. We should head over there. We quit what we were doing. Both of us were working in a similar field. At the time,
with the family business?
I was never with the family business, but I was doing well.
Okay.
Between working in a call center for a bank and hustling, I was doing pretty good. So we're talking about like brand new car straight out of the showroom. Life is good. Like I quit all that. We went to Canada. 3 weeks later, we're scrubbing the floors on a boat and like cleaning the toilets and mopping and doing all that kind of stuff. Because one thing that I always do, and it's actually what I'm doing right now, is as soon as I get to a certain level where I'm comfortable, I just throw that guy off a cliff and start again, because that comfort is uncomfortable for me. We'll talk about that, I guess, as the hour goes on. But we went out there, and then in Canada, we ended up selling mobile phones, because mobile phones were pretty big at the time. The same people that got us the job on the boat said, does anybody know how to sell phones? And I put my hand up, because don't forget, I've got a technology degree, right? So, and I know mobile phones inside out. I spent some time working in retail doing that.
Cleaning somebody else's boat, not your own.
Not our own boat. No. We were cleaning party boats.
Okay.
So you know, like how much they like, kind of how terrible they are after people have partied on them. So me and my partner, it's funny. We're in the kind of what's called the internet lab, because people used to go to places to access the internet. It wasn't like everybody had a connected device in their house, right?
Cafe.
Yeah, like an internet cafe. So we're in the internet cafe, and they have one inside the student exchange place. This lady comes out, does anybody know how to sell mobile phones? I was like, yeah, I do, because I've already been selling mobile phones retail as part of my uni as well. And then my partner was like, I don't know how to sell phones. I was like, put your hand up. So he puts his hand up as well. We get hired by this company called Student Phones. They had distribution across all 72 Canadian universities. We go in there, we start selling phones. Off the back of that, they asked us, whoever gets top phone sales, we want to know what you want as a bonus, as an incentive. So obviously everybody's a broke student, and they're like, we want cash, we want this, or whatever the case may be. I was like, nah, fuck that. I want to meet the CEO. So we get top sales, and then I go and meet, and then as we get our top sales, the sales manager says to us, well done, you guys both got the top sales. The other guy way outsold me. He was at a much bigger university. I kind of like slipstreamed in with him and his sales. So I was like, okay, what did you want again? We were like, we want to meet the CEO. Unfortunately, he's leaving for Dublin in like 15 minutes. I said to the sales manager, a promise is a promise. So he had to go and talk to the CEO, and he was like, look, I promised these guys that they get 5 minutes with you. So he said, right, you've got 5 minutes. He's literally leaving for the airport. We walk up in the CEO's office. My partner doesn't know what the hell is going on. Like, he's like super confused. Like, why are we forcing ourselves into a man's room who doesn't want to talk to us? We sit down, and I was like, this guy sold the most phones across your whole business. I wrote a thesis in 2001 called Mobile Commerce, a revolutionary opportunity to get into the minds and pockets of consumers. So before phones were smartphones, right? You remember we were all carrying on these bricks and Nokias and things of that nature? And before there were internet connected devices, I wrote a thesis about how that was going to happen. Okay. And I told the CEO, and he said, well, funnily enough, we're looking at ways of growing our revenue, and we're really interested, being that we're selling so many phones, as to how we might sell ringtones. You remember on ringtones, like Crazy Frog and all those annoying things, Knight Rider and all that? Now it's ironic, we all have like almost standardized ringtones. But in those days, it was a thing. So he incubated the idea of this business. Their main business was called Student Phones, as I mentioned.
You sold the idea to him.
I mean, you had to, right? It's ride or die, like there's no other way about it. So we sold him the idea, he incubated, he took on the sales guy and made him national sales guy, like trained him up to be the national sales manager. And he said to me, look, you're a bit more left field, we're going to incubate this business. The main business was called Student Phones, and we came up with a side business called Student Tones. Fast forward a year, I'd been around the US, different music conferences, connecting with different celebrities, rappers and artists. And remember, I come from a music background, so it's easy for me to have a conversation with like a rapper or an artist or a musician. And jump forward a year, and I get a phone call from Sony Ericsson's PR team saying, we know who you are, we've heard about you, would you go on TV and be the face of Sony Ericsson for Canadian Music Week? So my Canadian story ended with me doing a nationwide tour with Sony Ericsson. So in 1 year, we turned it around from like cleaning boats or a year and a half to being on TV. Came back to the UK, transferred that skill over to another agency, started helping companies like Paramount and Warner Home Video to put their clips on mobiles. Before the iPhone, when we all had Sony Ericssons and all these horrible phones, you had to download these things one by one. That company went under because obviously it was a very difficult business. I joined a startup in LA as employee number 6. They were kind of like the Financial Times of social media.
So you did the tour with Sony Ericsson?
Yeah.
And then after that?
Went to the UK.
Okay.
And took that video of me on TV
okay.
to get myself a sales job in media
okay.
for downloadable content.
Okay.
That company went under, went to work for a startup in Los Angeles. That company, I was employee number 6. They were like the Financial Times of social media. a little over a year later, after I did the New York and LA conference circuit with them, they sold to The Guardian. And I had no idea. I was literally working out of a room no bigger than this, including my bed, my turntables, because I've been a DJ for the last 20 years, my turntables and all the stuff that I own, a small room in London. I get a phone call, we're selling the company, we need your share options. I was like, what the fuck are share options? Like, what are you talking about? They were like, the CEO gave you share options in the business. So I find this old tattered like contract which I signed, and sure enough, one of the pages says that you have a share option on the company. So I have to like figure out what a share option is, because it's not a share, it's an option to exercise a share in a number of like different circumstances. So they get sold, and I have to give my option back to the company, i.e. I have to sell it back to the company so that they can sell it to the buying company. I got a nice check for that,
Okay.
right? So now I'm like 26, 27 years old. I take some of that money, I go to Australia, I'm lying on the beach, literally like this. And this is 10 years ago. So the story that I just told you started in 1998. We're now at 2008. 10-year difference. I'm lying on the beach, I'm like, what did I enjoy doing? What have I enjoyed doing? Life's been good, I don't have any debts. I really enjoy creating content. Like, I enjoy making content. Even when I was working for this startup in LA, they were doing a lot of written content because they were like the Financial Times. I was taking my camcorder in and videoing the round table. So at a round table, you might have like Disney and Sky and all these big media companies having a conversation, and I would video it and then put it on their website. So I was like, I really like creating content, but I'm not an entrepreneur that likes to build and hire and, you know, do loads of big things like that. So I want to be like an agent, like a middleman, and I want to create content. So I'm lying.
And at 28, you knew that.
Well, I'm just like lying on the beach thinking
Facebook
about.
just picked up at that point.
Facebook's just getting warm at this point. Facebook's getting warm. Like, YouTube's definitely been bought by Google at this point. MySpace, no one knows where it's going to go because News Corp have just bought them. Yeah, it could have just, everything all could just died. So I'm lying there and I'm like, I like making content. I want to create some sort of agency to create content. And then boom, it hit me, creative content agency. So I'm in Australia, I go back to the dorm room. I think I bought the URL that day and went back to the UK, told loads of corporate companies that I can help you figure out what content you should put on the internet. From 2008 to about 2011, 2012, I got laughed out of so many boardrooms, so many business pitches. I was rejected, ignored over and over and over again, because people were like, why do we want to put our CEOs and our board on LinkedIn? Like, we're KPMG. Why do we want to advertise the personalities of our partners so that Accenture or Deloitte might steal them? I was like, okay, I was explaining the reason why, like, at the end of the day, your partners are a funnel to the business. They spend all days lunching and, you know, going to like dinners and things like that to drive business. By raising their profile on the internet, you're building the top of your funnel.
Yeah.
So anyway, they didn't get with it, but then, as you rightly mentioned, like, you know, social media, Facebook had its feet definitely in the ground. Social media movie came out. Mainstream news networks started talking about hashtags and things like that.
Those days, nobody knew what to do with it.
Nobody knew what to do with it, and here I was.
Make money out of it. Nobody had a clue out of it.
Exactly. So for a second time in my career, I was ahead of the curve again, luckily. So then, after that, I started working with some professional services companies like these blue chips, but where there was a huge demand for what I was doing, and still is today. If you're looking at making money, you can do exactly what I'm doing in 2018, is working with independent e-commerce companies to make content for them. Because if you are the nation's biggest seller of golf clubs or carrier bags, you're not going to be able to produce enough content if it's 2008, 2011, 2015, because you've got to produce so much content to sell your products. So I spent a lot of time working with e-commerce companies at a board level, helping them figure out what content to put out. That roughly takes us to 4 years ago, came to Dubai.
And you did all this, you have no advertising background, you had no copywriting background or anything, right?
Nah, nothing.
And basically, this is what those people do actually.
Who?
Copywriters and ad agencies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you took it to the social media space, which is a different DNA altogether. That's
Yeah. And then I you know, I kind of lost my enthusiasm for that about 4 years ago, between London traffic and London weather. So any of you who spent time in London, you know that's a massive pain in the ass. So I thought, okay, look, so one of my friends, she started a conference series. She was like, look, on stage we're gonna have Huda Beauty. She's like an influencer of beauty products, like major. And we're gonna have Google and a few other people on stage. Would you mind coming over to Dubai and moderating that panel. So 4 years ago November, I came here, moderated the panel, came off stage, and all these big brands, as soon as I came off stage, gave me their card. And that was another turning point, because I was like, in London, to get all the cards of all these people that work at all these companies would take 6 months, and more rejection and so on and so forth. In Dubai, it happened overnight.
Yeah.
Like, not even overnight, it happened in a period of like 24 seconds.
Yeah, they dish it out. Yeah.
They dish it out. So I was like, okay, it's feeding time here. Like, I was like 4 years ago when I came to Dubai, I was like, this is exactly time to get it in. So I came here, I was in and out for 6 months, still doing DJ shows overseas, still throwing parties in the UK, different bits and pieces. About a year and a half ago, really kind of put my roots down here. Was working in the conference industry, in investor conferences. And I've tried, guys, I apologize for like throwing so many words into your ear holes for the last like 10 minutes, but there's no short way of telling the story. Yeah. And that I promise you is just like the tip of the iceberg, because when I was doing the DJing stuff, one thing that got me into content, when I was going to New York and LA, like I would meet like Pharrell, or I would meet like the Wu-Tang Clan, and just to show my boys back home, I would take pictures with them and shoot videos with them, right? Little did I know at the time that would become social media content. And every time I come back to London, people are like, oh, I saw your interview with E40, or I saw you with Russell Peters. Now all of a sudden, people are like, oh, we like this dude. We're gonna get him to start DJing more for us. So the content helps the DJing blow up. The DJing gets me to meet more and more people. Those people tell me what they do in their lives, what businesses they have, pharmacy, e-commerce, doctors, whatever. I then tell them about the content. They then want to buy the content to push their brand, which makes me more money, which then allows me to go and buy more turntables and do more touring, which makes me meet more people, which gets me more pipeline for the agency. So the next thing you know, now you've got this, not vicious cycle, but this like self-propagating cycle of just like branding, advertising, sales, revenue, branding, advertising, and it's still not stopped to this day. It's what I was doing 90 minutes ago before I jumped on the metro to come here. And God willing, long may it last. Yeah. So that's it. Everyone okay? Like everyone, no one slipped into like a mild coma at that point, did they? All right, so that's me.
That's right.
Yeah. And I'm only saying that because we have time. I have like a 30-second version of it, but I didn't want to rob anybody, so that if anybody wants to ask any questions about making money in this industry, and I encourage all of you to come into my industry because it's booming. Forget all this Dubai's down cycle and all this other crap. The market is up like crazy.
And it's impossible for 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 people to actually cater to everyone, right? There's so much of work around.
Dude, we are just at the beginning of niching. Like if you're all about being vegan and weightlifting, or if you're all about being an Arab woman in business and a mother, or if you're all about aviation and freaking elastic bands, you can figure out a group of people that you can talk to and make content about, because that's your passion.
Yeah.
So now we've gone from a stage where we kind of educate ourselves, and the end goal is to qualify to be something. And you still need to do that for doctors or brain surgeons. I don't want anyone following their passion and doing freaking brain surgery on me, right? But at the same time, you can still wake up tomorrow and be like, I want to do CSS or HTML coding. And you can choose that at the beginning of the journey, and then the rest of the time is just optimizing. So there's so much opportunity in my industry.
Are you speaking at universities?
Yeah. Universities, workshops.
What are you doing? How to create content and how to...
Can I be really crass with you and honest?
You must be.
I just want fucking students to get money, man.
Okay.
Do whatever you want to do with it. You want to buy sneakers, you want to go to the club, you want to hang out with girls, you want to buy a car. Like, I just tell them like what it is they want to know. I'm not going to sit there and preach or wax philosophical. I'm going to be like, yo kid, what do you need? Like, what are you trying to do? And then specifically answer that question to what their goals are. Their goals might be like, I want to be big enough to do this because I want to look after my single mom. Cool, let's figure out a way to do that. Or their goals might be, you know what, I've had my eye on this watch since I was 13 years old. Okay, let's reverse engineer that and let's just figure that out. I don't have like I know where I want to go, but I want to make sure everyone goes where they want to go.
Understood. But my question is more directed like something like a content university.
Mm.
You know, how to manufacture content that is relevant. How to take it and apply it so that other people can do it?
So it's a great segue. You remember I mentioned to you 1998 and 2008? So here we are, jump forward 10 years, and it's 2018. And it's roughly around the same time. Like when that company got sold, that I told you about in 2008, that was August. So by September, October, I'm lying on this beach in Australia being like, what do I want to do with my life? I've kind of got bored of sitting at a board level and consulting for brands at this stage in my life, because it's fun and you get to do a volume of work, which is amazing, but you also get involved in the politics and the bullshit and sometimes dealing with dumb people, which can frustrate anybody. It's like client services, right? So here we are, 2018, roughly the same time, and we're taking the creative content agency, which is my main business. So if anybody wants to email me, it's raj@creativecontentagency.com, and we're launching the Creative Content Academy.
You are?
And the first syllabus we're launching is called the 4 Ps of Content.
Super.
And the goal of that is to teach anybody how they can make an almost unlimited amount of content, whether it's to push their personal brand, what they do in yoga, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, whatever. And we ground that in 4 key pillars, which we call the 4 Ps of content. How do you plan, produce, publish, or promote content? Now, any of these is a sub-industry within itself.
Yep.
So what we do is we give you the high-level philosophy and the base practice of how to action all of those, from planning, producing, publishing, promoting, so that you can actually start putting out your own content, and that can then map to whatever your goals are.
So you have an online course for that?
We can't be more than 10 days away from that.
Okay.
Yeah, like I locked myself in a big house this summer in London, and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and I was in cafes, I was writing. I don't think I've left my dining room table for the last 3 or 4 weeks since I've been back in Dubai. And I've just been writing, shooting videos, doing syllabus. And if you've got everyone's contact details here, I'll send you the content and you can share it. There's going to be a whole bunch of free lessons. Or you can just type my name, Raj Kotecha. Huh?
Free lessons.
A bunch of free lessons. There will be options to, if you need my personal physical time, there'll be options of ways that we can engage, whether it be through mentorship or group coaching or things of that nature. But for the most part, there's going to be a lot of free content. And there already is. If you just type in my name, Raj Kotecha, RajKotecha, on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, there is so much free content. My Instagram last 3 or 4 days has been like just 1-minute video lessons. Yeah.
It was fantastic I just saw that about influencers.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff what you just said over there.
Yeah.
So much of people in Dubai who are just
So much people,
coming out of the
so many people, not just in Dubai,
Yeah.
in every city that's kind of now somewhere between established, which is where I would say Dubai is, and mature, which is like your Paris, London, New York.
Yeah.
Between established and mature, what you get is this hive of bullshit. You get like a bunch of people that just fake it. Because think about it, we'll come over to you in a second. Think about it, you can wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm an influencer. You can wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm a social media consultant. There's no barrier to entry. I'm in the worst game, dude. I am a DJ and a social media specialist, like creative content specialist. Imagine that. 2 things where I can stand up off this beanbag right now and be like, I'm a dog walker. That's the equivalent of what being a DJ is, because there is no qualification.
Yeah.
You get some sneakers, you're a dog walker. You buy some turntables, you're a DJ. It doesn't mean you're good or that you can add value, but it just means that there's a low barrier to entry. So you're going to get that, and that's where I think it's important to do the personal branding to stand out.
And how do you stand out? I mean, be authentic, right?
It's
and it's not for you to judge us, it's for others to judge.
inside everybody there is their own unique voice.
Yeah.
What there isn't, or what everybody doesn't have, is the ability to let it out. I mean, I struggled with this recently as well. I looked at a bunch of videos that I made last week where I was explaining the 4 Ps of content on camera. And when I looked at the video, I was like, that's not how I am talking to you now. Because when I'm talking, when I'm in the zone, it's a lot more passionate and you can feel it. And when I talk about throwing parties, and you see me on YouTube or Facebook Live, I'm like, yo, we're gonna be here on Friday, it's going down, da, da, make sure you bring your friends, da, da. It's a lot more energetic. I think that from working in the corporate world, that switch has maybe been dialed down a little bit, but we'll be dialing that shit up very quickly, because I need to talk to people like this.
And
to
I've
be
seen-
authentic.
Yes, and I've seen
Yeah.
that Gary Vee, for instance.
Yeah.
He doesn't do just face to.
So that's my older brother. Like
Yeah.
I launched 2 of his books in the UK.
Yeah.
I've interviewed him 6 times. Like Gary Vee is like, that's my guy. Like for
Yeah.
real, yeah.
For me also, I just realized that when you know that's your style, then you just embrace it.
Yeah.
You're not the kind of person who looks into the video and camera and speak, then you just don't do it.
Yeah. But the thing is, I've got to respect the pace of how people learn.
Of course, yeah.
The difference is, my job was to get my clients to understand. So my clients didn't necessarily want to learn everything that I knew. They just wanted to understand how what I'm saying affects the bottom line. Whereas now, it's a slightly different position because I'm not just telling you what to do and have blind faith in me because you're paying me an outlandish fee. It's you're paying me a small fee or nothing, and I want you to go and exercise this yourself. So if there's a misunderstanding in what I teach you, then you're not going to benefit from that misunderstanding. So that's the reason why I have to be empathetic to the needs of the listener and communicate in a slightly different way, as opposed to rah, do what I say, which is what I've been doing with clients in the past.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. And the difference is
What do you do?
me.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay. I've been there, I get it.
Yeah.
But if it was like a
So-
6-word version of what you do.
I create mind shifts.
Okay, cool. So coaching, mental work, things that's your full-time shtick?
Yes.
Okay, got you. Cool.
Inspire
And inspire people.
That's not my job. That's them to do it by themselves.
Yeah, but
So
that's good.
Yeah. But the whole idea is to create mind shifts. And the recent insight that I had was when you try to tell people things, you're giving them knowledge. And what you want is wisdom. And once they get it, then it aligns with them. And content, there's so much of content out there, right?
Yeah.
YouTube and everything's, the rate at which content is being coming out
Yeah.
is immense.
Yeah.
But if you really want change to happen, the content has to be delivered in such a manner that it sticks and aligns with them.
Yeah. And you know what?
That's a big challenge, right?
It's a temporary challenge, bro. I'll tell you I'm going to tell you some real shit right now. I saw something on the internet the other day that I almost like threw my clothes off naked and started running around. I was so happy. I ran a video on YouTube. Before the video started, there was an advert. Everyone's familiar with that, right? First 5 seconds is compulsory, or there's a skip ad button after 5 seconds and you press it. So I'm watching this video. It's like a hip-hop interview or some shit like that. 1 minute and 37 seconds into the video, another advert happens. Anybody spent any time in the US? Okay, US television. You have, my love? Right, what is it like on US TV? It's commercial. Weather only. You only watch the weather. Okay, you're not gonna understand. You're not gonna have seen this. But in the US, you watch a TV show like Friends. It's commercial. Opening scene, opening credits, I'll be there for you. Then before the actual first scene show starts, there's another commercial.
Yeah.
Because TV has to monetize, right?
Yeah.
Friends was paying each of the actors $1 million an episode.
Yeah.
Plus, which is plus set, plus food, plus staff, plus cameras,
Because
right?
Everybody's watching TV. Everybody's watching
It's
Netflix.
expensive, so everybody's now trying to get revenue out of the TV industry. That's now going to start happening on YouTube. So why is that a good thing? It's a good thing because people's time is precious to them.
Yeah.
So now if YouTube makes me an offer, like it has done in the UK, it's not here in the UAE yet, but you can get like a YouTube premium service called YouTube Red,
Yeah.
right? £10 a month, which is around 48 dirhams, no adverts. You can also shut down your YouTube app and the audio will still keep playing in the background. So if you're just listening to a lecture or a priest or a business TED talk, whatever you want, the audio keeps playing. And you can also download the video and save it to your device the way you can with Netflix. So what I like about the fact, and think about just basic economics here, right? What I like about the world that we live in today is that there is so much content that it has niched out where people's attention is, right? I don't necessarily care about just dog walking now. I care about dog walking for dogs that have long fur and short legs. So as each of these niches start to become their own thing, it's harder to tell a Nestle or a Coca-Cola or a Rolls-Royce that this is exactly where you should have your advert. So they start spread betting their ads across 3 or 4 categories.
Yeah.
That means that the adverts become less relevant to the consumer. The consumer then starts to get annoyed by the amount of advertising. And if you go on the internet right now, I don't care what you do on the internet, and I don't want to look through a lot of your browser histories, but there's a lot of adverts. So people will now start paying a premium. Once people start paying a premium to not consume generic content like YouTube, imagine what they're going to pay for specific content like mind-shifting transformational stuff, like creative content strategy, like gluten-free pizzas, like vegans for people with psoriasis, like vegan food with people for psoriasis. So shit's going to get really good. So I'm telling you right now that the first week of October 2018, my industry's booming. We're not even at the beginning of where my industry's going. So if you guys are like sat around thinking, do I want to do something different with my life? Or, you know, I'm not really enjoying my job, my boss is an asshole. Like, start looking at the stuff that I do, because it is pounding, like really, really, really good. And my friend over here, my friend with the black, you speak Arabic, right? Would be my guess. French as well. And any other Arabic speakers in the room? You both are literally golden geese. Arabic content has not even begun to scratch the surface. Like, you speak fluent Arabic? To me, you look like a bag of money right now.
Carry me home.
Yeah. More than I can carry, dead ass. Like, the amount, you know Saudi Arabia?
If he gets it.
I didn't know.
I was saying puzzle.
Yeah, I didn't know you could speak Arabic, but the point being,
My question is answered already.
Saudi Arabia, right? And for all the things that the whole world and CNN says about Saudi Arabia, they have the highest per capita, per person, highest number of uploads and downloads of anywhere in the world. Now, okay, cool. A lot of people in Saudi Arabia maybe don't go out. They certainly have only just started going to the cinema. It's not as if they're in the club or, you know, things like that. So there's a lot more reason to consume content. But that shift is going to take 5 to 15 years if that trend changes. In the meantime, land grab. You can put out so much amazing content. And what's amazing is Arab people, and I don't want to generalize here, but Arab people, when you let them go and do their thing, they are friendly, welcoming, they've got a nice sense of humor. I hung out with a lot of Arabs in Leo Burnett, and I was like, oh, you guys are pretty cool. Like, you got a similar vibe to us, like the Indians, but you also got a similar vibe to some different types of people, like the Turkish and the Italians. Like, and I'm like, once that unlocks, there's going to be so much opportunity for the Arab-speaking population.
What you're saying aligns with something else I heard recently. This, like, iPhone came in, when there was Nokia and Sony Ericsson and all those phones, and they didn't know what hit them. Something's coming to hit the advertising industry.
Which is what?
A company who is coming in to bulldoze the whole industry, what they say is Accenture, is trying to get into this space. And if they do that because they have all the data analytics that you're talking about, and they know what to do with what, it's just a matter of playing the game.
So one thing I've noticed, I don't know who it is that you're referring to, but what I can speak to is if there was another company coming into the industry to try and do that, anybody
I'm not saying that others don't have an opportunity, but I'm saying that it's growing progressively towards that exponential rate.
I think what we're seeing is if that's a new company, it's probably going to be born out of the back door of an existing older company, because if you look at M&A, like mergers and acquisitions, the way that companies get bought or fused together, 10 years ago, startups would refuse money from larger companies. Snapchat would turn down Facebook, Groupon would turn down Google, because it was thought that a smaller company could keep a distance from a larger company. Now those examples haven't worked out too well for Snapchat and definitely haven't worked out too well for Groupon. So now what you're seeing is any smaller innovative company with literally 1 million users worldwide could get snapped up by Facebook or Google or Apple or Amazon before any of us have even found out who they are. So if somebody's coming like that, they'd have to ski backwards up a hill against the economic theorem of where we are today, which is that we know who the big players are. And it happened with everything. It happened with cars. In the first 20 years of cars, there's 30 car manufacturers. After 100 years, there's Ford and et cetera, right? Chrysler or whatever the case may be. It happened with television channels. There was 1 million different producers, but all those producers got sucked into four TV networks if you're from the UK, BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, Channel 4. So if there's somebody coming in, they're going to need like some sort of real magic potion if they want to bulldoze the whole industry. Because Jeff Bezos and the guys at Google and the guys at Facebook and the guys at Apple and even Microsoft now, they're not really open to being disrupted. They'll buy a company and shut it down before.
FAMGA, right? They call it FAMGA.
What's that?
FAMGA.
What does that mean?
Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Apple, I think.
It's a good way to remember it.
Yeah.
Because I'm always forgetting one, so I might use
Yeah.
FAMGA as well.
Yeah, FAMGA.
Yeah.
Companies were
Yeah.
the major
Can I
companies.
ask
Can, we're right to. I don't want to like take over. Like we can do questions, right?
I mean, within the conversation that you guys are talking about, is to write. You're a content writer now. You're a content creator, as
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
So any like writer or a musician or a speaker in a conference, everybody has like one thing to know about, to focus on. The thumbs rule is know your audience.
Yeah.
It's all about what are you saying to whom, right? So when the mass communication in social media is happening in a very rapid space, with the fact that you might actually be having a conversation, a very private conversation can become a very mass communicated by just putting it online, social media or stuff like that. In your opinion, what is your understanding of how the audiences have changed for a content creator? Or audience now has an audience, and then those audience are also producing their themes, and it is then synergizing again. So eventually, the content that is being created again, what is the definition? Who is consuming what then, in your opinion?
Right. So if I understand, you're asking me what's the architecture of online audiences today, right?
Architecture, but at the same time, I'm trying to intertwine with the conversation that you guys are having is about who is the audience of a content producer.
Okay.
Can you like? I understand with the architecture that you're talking about. I'm within the same field as
Yeah.
that. But what I'm trying to understand from your experience, from your journey is that do you actually have some kind of a parameters that all right, these are the niche that I'm trying to talk about around it, but
Okay.
then again they have the room to spill over to other.
1000%, yes. One of the clients that I did really great work for a number of years, was a company called Golf Online. They're one of the biggest retailers in the UK of golf equipment, and they are direct retailers and direct partners of all the major brands, right? So anybody play golf here? Raise their hands. No one as well. No one's been to America. Okay, you did. Okay, fine. I'm going to come up with something that everybody's done at some point. Has everybody been to the bathroom in the last week? Okay, so that's a success for me. I'll take that. I'm not going to ask any more questions after that. That's my win, and that's my win, and I'm done. Yeah, that's why I said I'm not checking your browser history, right? So here's my point: is that how was I able to get success in that industry? Is because I realized that people that like golf in the same way that the community I know, which is music lovers, like music. If you're a golf head, you really love golf, and you've seen it, right? You must know somebody who plays golf, like that's where they get their oxygen. Same with music, same with a bunch of different industries. So I personally go into industries to create content which are categories of business that can be spoken about interchangeably with lifestyle. So golfers have a golfer's lifestyle, like hip hop heads have a hip hop culture lifestyle. So I personally create content for that, and the reason why is because when something's not just as narrow as a specific discipline, but when there's a whole lifestyle around it, then you can go in different ways. And I think to answer the other part of your question, because you said it was intertwined, I think the grounding cable of your question was, you said know your audience. I think knowing your audience was something that we could do when the audience had a very narrow set of parameters. So we're talking 1980s, 1990s. Somebody would only typically read a certain type of books. They'd watch soap operas or documentaries or whatever. But now the internet has made everybody consume everything, or has given everybody the option. So we've gone from a world of know your audience to test your audience. So Wu-Tang Clan, who I've worked with, they have a song called Cash Rules Everything Around Me, Cream. I now say that the modern version of that is data rules everything around me. Dream. You can't be 100% sure what's going on with your consumer and their tastes unless you get in there. So know your audience. It's nice. Like, you might get lucky on a lucky day and guess what your audience is doing. But 99% of other people need to test it.
But then how in terms of production, the whole economy changes? Because in know your audience, you can actually produce, plan, publish and promote accordingly in your own
It's all
four
about
Ps.
tweaking it, right?
So if it's your audience, how does that apply? Or how does that economy of scale change?
It's a good point, dude, because like I can tell you right now that 50% of the stuff that I've advised my clients to do, and I'm talking about some real big shot, like best in class market leading clients, 50% of the stuff I advised them even 9 months ago, 12 months ago, is worthless. Like, put it in a bin, burn it. The other 50% is timeless, which is it will continue to work for the next 4, 5 years, 10 years. The whole industry is moving so quickly that getting wrapped up on, okay, we need to plan, produce, publish, and promote this. Yeah, good. Have you hit the target you want to hit? Yes. If the target is the same in 6 months, the behaviors and how you communicate with that audience might completely change. Let me give you some really practical examples so it doesn't sound like I'm dancing around the houses here. The way that Snapchat took off in the Middle East is crazy. How it got used almost as an SMS platform, right? Between families and between networks. Everyone said that when Instagram launched Instagram Stories, that it would kill Snapchat. It didn't kill it, it just changed the ratio. It took some people that wanted the convenience of stories in one place and moved them over to Instagram. But other people liked the fact that Snapchat was less noisy and stood on Snapchat, stayed there for that reason. How did we know that Instagram was going to launch Instagram Stories? How do we know that now WhatsApp has a story that you can post on there and a status? So the game keeps changing. So whilst the game keeps changing, you can be like, oh man, that's difficult. I got to go back to the drawing board. But you don't go back to the drawing board because there's a compound interest effect. Everything you learned from this change in Instagram will prepare you for the change that's going to happen on Facebook when Facebook does something with Oculus, which is VR. So every single move that you watch in the industry, you're like, okay, cool. Something I learned about MySpace in 2004 could still be applied to what's going to happen with, I don't know, even Google Maps or WhatsApp or something like that. The point is that everything that you learn, every time you adapt, you're aggregating this knowledge.
Yeah.
So everything that you've said to me, bro, is what I love. Everything that you said about like not knowing and knowing your customer and trying to figure it out and trying stuff and then, you know, it might potentially fail, all is a massive opportunity.
And just to add on that, is like I was just, you know, getting in my mind about the viral factor that you talk about. In your own understand what you share about how applications are retransforming the game. At the same time, the content virality is also getting changed. You know, when the people are trying to produce certain content thinking that this might go viral, it doesn't. And when it is just created spontaneously and like, you know, generally just for fooling around, it goes on and it becomes viral.
Yeah. So here's the thing about viral content, right? If there's one thing that I've spoken about or that my clients have asked me for, it's how do I make content viral? And they might be doing the most boring shit in the world and they're trying to make content viral. It's easy to be like, you know what? You can't make content viral, the market decides. And then it's easy to be like, I want viral content. The reality is, it is generally hard to make content viral because it's like that scene in Gladiator, right? Which is like this. The market decides, is it viral or is it not viral? But the fight needs to happen. The actual content, the man fighting the lion needs to happen before everyone goes, we all like this, i.e. it's viral, or some of us like it, some of us don't.
And so funny, there are a lot of people who say we make viral content.
They say that, but you know what? You can't.
In a sense, agencies.
Right,
And
but
I find it funny actually.
But here's my point. You can make viral content.
You can?
Yeah, because
That is-
just yesterday, there was a woman who posted it online, and I suggest you Google it the second you walk out of here because you're going to die laughing. There was a woman who had a problem with a squirrel in her garden eating the bird. Do you see it? Look at this. You can't see this girl's face right now, but her face is exactly what my mind is doing right now. Like, She was having a problem with the squirrel eating all the bird seeds. So she put grease on the pole where the bird seeds are. And this squirrel would run up about 2 feet, hold on, and slide down. I don't care I don't care. That shit is hilarious. And the woman who put the grease on the pole stood there with the camera waiting for that squirrel to come back. Can everybody make viral content? No. But can somebody make content and it goes viral and they also don't know why it happened? Yes. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you hope for, but you can't necessarily guarantee to people. But
Does that mean you became a brand? Does that lady now became a brand? Is she now earning a lot of money because she posted that video?
not in her case, but if you look at Missy Elliott's Funky White Sister, have you seen that? There's a white lady in America who sings "Work It" by Missy Elliott, and she does a really good job. And it's cool, it's on beat, but it's done in an old white lady way instead of a young female hip hop rapper way. And it's immediately viral. And she's on Ellen within 2 months. And of course, she's going to be doing corporate gigs now as we go into the fourth quarter. Like, she'll be doing Christmas and Thanksgiving parties in the US. And she's going to make enough money to pay off whatever house she's living in if she's got a mortgage, and probably buy a couple more as well.
You know what is the thread that I'm seeing in this whole, where you're inviting people to come and create content and everything?
Yeah.
More clutter, more of the jungle,
More noise?
more noise, more low quality stuff. For the sake of creating content, when people keep coming and pushing in a lot of stuff, yes, the good ones will really stand out in that scenario. I know. There's too much happening.
This is the thing about niches. It's hard when we talk about technology and media and stuff, and we forget the basics of prime economics, which is that what's low quality to you might not be low quality to somebody else who's got $2 for the person who made that low quality content. I'll give you an example. I've got a camera over there which is 10,000 dirhams, right? Bought it from Dubai Mall. You could argue that that's producing right now high quality content. Between the quality of the camera and the stuff that I'm saying, there's going to be somebody who 1000% is going to benefit from watching this content online. However, I can also just as easily pull out my phone right now and go on Facebook Live, and 60 people will check out a video and a bunch of them will benefit from whatever I say. Also low quality. When I first came to Dubai 4 years ago, add me on Facebook and go back through my videos. I created something called Dubairy, which is my diary of Dubai. And I jumped out of the plane, jumped into a car. Obviously the first time I got here, bastards, they put me in the Lexus, so I paid like too much instead of jumping in the yellow cab. So I jump in the back of the Lexus, I'm like, it's like 3 in the morning, I've just landed from London. I whipped out my phone and I was like, hey guys, I've just come to Dubai. I'm hosting a conference over here. I'm hosting a panel with Google and a bunch of different people, and I just thought I'd let you guys know what I'm doing. That video series today still remains in the top 10, 15 items of content I've ever made because it was real and it was raw. The thing is, when stuff is over polished, you know, you're talking about a lot of noise. One thing that we do great as human beings, we have an amazing bullshit detector.
Yeah.
You know, there's a trillion things you can see in the universe, but your eyes are only this big.
Yeah.
There's a bajillion sounds and radio frequencies, but your ears are only this small. We are naturally filtering, curating moments of biology as human beings. So I actually don't see it as a threat, being the term that you used.
What I'm seeing is more garbage. I'm saying that's all. There's more garbage that you have to filter through and get to the good stuff.
But one man's rubbish is another man's riches.
True.
I have a question.
Are they headphones around your neck?
I would just like to add to that.
Yeah.
It's also maybe
Dope.
The ones who are creating bad content, it's an opportunity for them to grow after some time.
Yeah.
Because they realize.
Yo, dude, on that point, if you go back to my YouTube channel, go back 10 years today in that kind of region, and you see the content I was making 10 years ago when I first started, when I first went to LA and started interviewing celebrities, trash, like really bad. And in fact, it's comparable to what I made last week when I was making my tuition videos online. The first version of everything is gonna suck. Like, look at your old textbooks at school. If you can look at all the crap you wrote then,
Yeah.
like, and that's one thing I really like about that is that in your own mind and in the people that you hang around with, you have to have a culture of forgiveness.
Yeah.
If someone's going to look at my first version to go into education and development, which is the industry I'm about to go into like in the next 2 weeks, anybody who judges anything I do for the next 18 to 24 months might say it's trash, and rightly so. I don't know my head from my ass in this industry. But if you look at every single time I've gone into an industry and not known what I'm doing, whether it's specific clients in golf, where I've never played a game of golf in my life to this day, or when I first went into the DJing game, or when I first went into the consulting game, and you remember I told you 08 to 2012, I got laughed out of every single industry? Who's laughing now? I'm chilling.
Absolutely.
I'm in Dubai. So like, as long as you're patient and you keep trying and just remove those suckers out of your circle that are like, oh, this ain't working, how's leaving your job and try doing your own thing worked out for you? Forget them. And just constantly focus on improving and improving.
Yeah.
And when that shit connects, it's like juggling.
Yeah.
Or it's like when you first ride a bike. And you remember that first time when the bike's like actually balances and you're like, oh shit. It's that.
Yeah, so I just left my IT company last month.
Congrats. To become a DJ?
Yeah, but I don't DJ as much, but I have super amazing taste.
Good,
So I
Good.
have my DJ and I have a band also.
good,
So we produce a lot of music now. I think every week we're making a hit.
good, good.
But maybe just, I think so. So I know you don't have a recipe for the viral video, right? But now we're in the process of making a music videos, and we have a lot of, because we have a lot of songs now, so we have to create a lot of video content.
Yeah.
So I don't know, do you have any kind of recipe for music video? I mean, not a recipe, but advice. What has to be in a music video? For example, my idea can be, I don't know, to create we wrote one Arabic song, right? To create a cool dance, and then I don't know, to put like a small, nice, fat Arabic kid to dance. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
Give those kind of advices for the videos, and it's different styles. It's Latino. We have booty song also. I mean, it's all different. Latino, Arabic house, deep house, even classical music. So we do so many things different.
Okay.
Crazy romantic man running in the desert. I saw your video.
Yeah.
Here's what I would recommend. Firstly, the market decides, and you need to get your music heard. Okay, so
Interpret the question.
well, I see it as two questions. One, what's the general advice for getting the music consumed? And then there's also promoting it, which is a very specific answer I'm going to give to the fact that as a group they're being quite promiscuous and creating a lot of different sounds, from house to Arabic to whatever else. So that's the second half of the question, which I'll come to in about 10-15 seconds. Firstly, you need to.
My ambition is to be world famous. This is my.
Okay, well, good. Fame is a metric as well. That's fine. Now, first thing I would do is you need to get your music heard. So at the very least, you need to understand that having your music on SoundCloud, where people consume it as just audio, and then putting a picture of your band as an image, and then putting the audio underneath it, and just uploading it to YouTube where it won't get taken down because it's original content, is another opportunity to get it heard. Right. Before you go down the route of hiring a fat Arab kid to dance along to your Arab song, yeah, what you need to do is take that original content. You have a Facebook fan page?
Yeah.
You actually have a Facebook fan page?
Yeah, for DJ, yes. For the band.
Okay, so not for the band. So let's talk about the band for a second. What's the name of the band?
X-Path.
Huh?
X-Path.
Xpath. Okay, cool, got you. You start the Xpath fan page. You go to business.facebook.com and you start it as a business fan page. Someone in your group puts in their credit card details. You then upload all of your songs to Facebook in the video form that I just mentioned to you. So just get any image, go into Windows Movie Maker or go into iMovie, drop the audio in, put an image in, render it, pop it out the other side, and then take that video, write some copy about who you are, a little bit about your backstory. When I say copy, I mean words in the description, about who you are, where are you from?
Ukraine.
Why a Ukraine girl has decided to make, who's living in the UAE, has decided to make Arabic songs. You write a little bit about that. Oh, I love the culture, I love living here, I was inspired by an ex-boyfriend, whatever the case may be. And then you aim that song at people that like Arabic music. The way that you deduce who those people are is go onto the Arabic charts, find out who the top 20 or 50 selling artists are, go onto business.facebook.com and run adverts against people that follow them. So you've done one Latin one, right? So let's say you would take your song, do the same thing, put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook video, write a little bit about why you wrote a Latin song, and then aim that at people that are fans of Enrique Iglesias, Nicky Jam, people that like the song Despacito. You get it?
Yeah.
Now it's going to start showing up in their feeds. Then you're going to start getting likes and comments. You can then retarget them when your next Latin song comes out.
Talking about the main, right? Not the one with the ads, not the small ads, right? The main line.
It'll come down your main feed, correct?
Main feed.
Yeah. And then what you'd want to do, because you're not in the, even established music artists like Lil Wayne sold 500,000 records last week. He's still going to make more money touring this week than he is selling records. So your job is give the MP3s away or send people to Spotify. As of 2 weeks ago, Spotify announced that independent artists can upload their own original music to Spotify. So now you've got worldwide distribution to every Spotify consumer in the world. And Spotify is also, FYI, coming to the UAE in the next few weeks. And now you've got distribution, you've got sales and marketing. Now, all you've got to hope is that your product is good. Because if your product's shit and you've got that machine behind it, then that's not what you're meant to be doing. Or you need to look at changing the product. But if you can belt out a good song and you can get it in front of the people that like it, now the ball's rolling. Now you're on that cycle that I was telling you about. Make sense?
So it's just a science, right? Just apply the science.
Yeah.
and you'll
Yeah,
get
but
it.
the problem is, I mean, I think they all just, the money makes money, right? If you want to be in iTunes in 100 top chart, right? For example, depends on the country. For example, Germany, or I don't know, Turkey, Germany, or UK, it's more. You pay
Yeah.
100 to 200 euros per day, and then you will be in the chart.
But
You know
what-
what I mean?
but-
Those-
But what's the difference? Well, okay, let's talk about charting
Yeah.
and let's talk about versus.
better spend the same amount of money on Facebook.
No, but let's talk about charting, right? And you paying to chart versus people actually liking your music and you paying for them to find out about your music. See, this is not a chicken and egg scenario, right? This is not a case of what came first. You can pay for the chart position by buying all your own records, but the people will never know. So as soon as you switch off that funnel of money that's buying your own records, which is essentially, I mean, without being an illegal issue, it's essentially frauding the system, right? When you switch that off, no one's gonna like you. And if you're talking about being famous and you've had 5 number ones, and yes, some people have discovered you off the back of that, but it's still not gonna be like Lady Gaga stop you on the street craziness. Why not put that money into the domino that comes before it, which is make people actually like your shit so that they voluntarily stream it and buy it. So then you end up hitting your numbers. And then off the back of that, you've got the people and you've got the accolades. That would make more sense. At the end of the day, you're in the simplest business. You sing, right?
No, I don't.
You don't sing, you're in a band.
No, I manage.
You're the manager. So you have a band who can perform a series of sounds using their mouth and instruments. Right. All you've got to do is make the people that like that sound hear it in a world where everyone's connected through their smartphones. So it's really not rocket science. Go back to the days of Motown or like Virgin Records and you say to them, how difficult was it to get a vinyl in front of a DJ to play it on the radio or to a DJ in a club or even to get someone to buy it. These are difficult days. I can tell by your face, we're roughly the same age. Shit used to be tough prior to 10 years ago. Now all you've got to do is just get it onto the platforms that distribute it and then get people to listen to it. And then, this is what I was telling you before, the Coliseum, people will let you know if your band is good or if it sucks. And if it sucks, rework the product. And if it's good, double down. Then you can justify spending the money because that's when the interest is going to come in from shows and festivals and things of that nature.
Thank you. And the second question about the video? Viral video.
I'm not even thinking about virality because you're putting your resources into that virality. What I'm saying is if you want to make a video, what you need to do first is get people to hear the record. So I would just put a cover image on the video.
Isn't it, it's easier to, when you have video?
Okay,
You know?
there is an element that's easier, but wouldn't it be easier for you to put out your 12 different genres of music, run the same amount of advertising budget on each one, so say $50 US on each of the 12 records. Now you've invested $600 US. Look at which one blew up out of the 12 and then go make the music video for that rather than guessing. So what this brother was talking about before, test your audience. Assumptions is the number one thing that's completely fucking up entrepreneurs, creators, everything. People are paralyzed by trying to figure out what the market's going to do versus spending $7 on a Facebook ad and seeing what they actually do.
How do you get the results out of these tests? You do a testing, and how do you get the result out of those tests?
When you go to business.facebook.com, there are a bunch of different drop downs and campaigns that you can create. If you really want to get sophisticated, when you create a Facebook campaign, you can do A/B testing, which is running 2 sets of the same ads and seeing which generates the best results. You can get a cookie, which is a tracker. It like puts a sticker on your customer when they come to your website. But again, rather than kind of boggle the people in the room that are not really messing with this as a challenge in their life, the greatest thing that we've ever created is Google and YouTube. You go to YouTube and you type in how to run Facebook ads or how to run dark posts, and then you and your band sit down and learn it. And you might be like, well, I'm the manager, why does the band need to learn it? You know why? Because musicians, especially ones that play instruments, are fucking great mathematicians. And what you're doing on Facebook's ad platform is, it's like a stock exchange. So I'm bidding for people who like acoustic music, because as a DJ, I've got a mixtape coming out with loads of acoustic music on. You're bidding for the same people. So you have to learn the economics. It's like a stock market. You bid and you trade, and it goes up and it goes down.
That's exactly how your clients measure you, right? Your performance, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the mysterious 5th P, there's 2 extra bonus Ps. There's plan, prove, shit, I just gave it away. Plan, produce, publish, promote. The 5th one is prove, which is a module we teach about ROI, whether it be monetary ROI, like numbers on the Excel spreadsheet, or whether it be branding and other types of uplift. And then the 6th one is patience, which is how do you work with the board to change the mindset from a trader's mentality, which is, Raj, I just gave you like $1,200 2 weeks ago, where's all my sales? To being like, asshole, wait 5 years, and all of a sudden you'll be like, sales have been amazing this month, we've spent no money on advertising, and it's because of something we did 5 years ago that's now blown up on YouTube and gone viral. It's the butterfly effect. Everyone heard of the butterfly effect? A butterfly will flap its wings in like Tokyo, and there'll be like a tsunami in Manchester. We're quite inland, but you get my point, right? Like, so this is what it is that you can do something, or rather the domino effect. You've got a domino over here that you want to knock over, but you've started a series of dominoes right down the corridor, and it's going to take time, and eventually it'll go, and then you're away. Yes, brother. What's your name?
My name is Santosh. Very different way. People are following you in without using their brain. For an example, fast food, smoking, liquor, drinking, these all are not good for youngster. Is my choice. Is my perception. Is my opinion. But you guys influence this much. They not using their brains, especially the young kids, and they going with the fast food, drink and smoke. What do you think about this part of your job?
Are you talking about actual children actually eating McDonald's and smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
Right. So as far as like my job is concerned, there are people that are in my industry that are 1000% using content and data to influence elections in the US, influence Brexit in the UK, get kids to start smoking, influence kids, young girls to start wearing short skirts, 1000%. Those people exist. But they existed before the internet. So if you go back to 1912, there'll be a packet of cigarettes being like, Dr. Carmichael from New Orleans recommends that you smoke for thick, healthy hair, right? Those kind of people and those kind of forces and energy have always been around regardless of wherever the media has gone. Because for every example that you just gave, there is now an independent content creator who's been like, I've been vegan for 3 years, and here's the impact it's had on my IBS. So you're always gonna have that because that's a human thing. That layer sits above the technology.
1000x now, as of now, as compared to last time. Because
Relative.
internet.
It's all relative, because for everybody who's now pushing cigarettes, there are other people being like, here's my grandma, she's dead in bed in a hospital. Bye, grandma, we loved her. Oh, by the way, it's because she got throat cancer. And everyone's like, fuck. Because that message never made it to TV. Like, I never saw, everyone on Facebook? Hands up if you're on Facebook. All right, did you see how I just scored another win there? So everyone's been to the toilet in the last week, and everyone's on Facebook. How did you, who's seen on their Facebook one of their friends, parents, grandparents, or siblings or friends dead, dying? Not a dead body, but just a notification like, sorry grandma, we'll always miss you, right? Who said no? Your Facebook is clean. I need your login, you can have mine.
No one said rest in peace to any one of their family members at all?
Right. So here's the thing. That message never got out before. So when you say, okay, it's 1,000 times worse, it's not just 1,000 times worse on the bad side, it's 1,000 times also better on the good side. And I would argue that if you look at from 2012 to today, the amount of people that identified themselves as vegetarian or vegan versus what they did in the same consumer survey in 2012, I would say that that's not the meat industry with the big budgets that made people go vegan. That's people like us telling each other, you know what, I gave up meat for a month and I was able to put an extra 5 kilos on the bar when I went to the gym. That's my reality. When I went vegan for 2 months, I was lifting more weight in the gym than I've ever lifted before. So that's going to tell, like that word of mouth is going to be more impactful.
And Donald Trump actually pushed out political correctness through Twitter. That is another example of morality.
Yeah, I mean,
Political correctness
Yeah.
and Donald Trump in the same sentence?
so yeah, I think he's saying that he got rid of political correctness. Is that what you're saying, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and there's always going to be people. There's always going to be people that are bending it, because the inherent flexibility and choice that we all benefit from when we use these networks can be worked in either direction. You know, how did we find out about? Obviously, we communicated via email or something, or through Michael. But like, how did you first hear about me? Sana, my agent. Okay, right. So okay, yeah, fine. So like word of mouth. Because I got introduced to Sana. I'm with one of the agencies that represents me is a company called Mina Speakers, and so yeah, that's her. And she heard about. She got told. I got introduced to her through my sister. So we're talking about a very like physical meet at the food market kind of way of doing it. But there's a trillion internet layers that sit on top of that where we can find out about each other. Michael called me on a cell phone today to tell me to wear odd socks. And by the way, I think these odd socks are the greatest, man. Look at that. They're both the same design but different colors. I was dead against this before I came down. I told Michael, I was like, fuck that, I can't do that. That's going to mess up my energy. But I'm really happy I did it. So even I'm growing.
That's only the tip of the iceberg.
Huh?
The color part is the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah? I'm going to enjoy the tip of the iceberg because I don't get out too much. So this might be the only iceberg I see.
Try to buy a different fabric.
Okay.
I
I think they're all cotton. If you want to ship me some leather socks, I'm open. But
This is the thing. Like for example, today here at this energy, you know, you're an online person. You create content for online. There's online consumption.
well, I'm not just an online person.
All right.
Yeah, as in
Ask you, Like your response to this. That what is your take about these offline gatherings where people can sit in front of a fire, share stories around that, play music around that, just to that kind of experiences compared to just Snapchatting, sharing on posts, Facebook, and whatnot.
Bro, I'm with it. I'm so freaking with it, bro. You know why? Because
Not in the summer.
yeah, let me tell you about. So I've represented a lot of big brands, right, in the world, in terms of the content they've created, and I've explained that already. The reason why I still kill 20 years in, and I still work as hard as I did when I was 18, and still come up with as many fast ideas, is whilst I'm making brands for my clients, I'm also making brands for myself. And easily one of the biggest brands I've built in the last 2 years, maybe a year and a half, and you're all welcome to come to this. It's called My Friends, Your Friends, and it's almost exclusively an offline event. Here's the concept. I go to a bar, I say, hey bar, how you doing? Most bars in the city are like, we're doing pretty bad, right? So I go to the bar and I say, I'm gonna fill this place for you. They go, cool, we're listening. I say, I need For everybody I bring, I want everybody to have their first drink for free and access to a happy hour menu. So, you know, 1 red wine, 1 white wine, 1 beer, 1 whatever. My friends, your friends, is I then go to 15 of the most kick-ass people in Dubai and I say, come and meet me in this bar for a drink and bring along your friends. So I invite 15 people and they all invite around 15 to 20 people as well. We all meet in a bar and everybody there knows one of those core 15 people. So there's no need for ice breaking. It's like meeting at a house party and just having a chat with somebody. So I believe in both. I actually still create products for both. And that was me scratching my own itch because I told you I've been here for 4 years. But the first 2 years I was like almost like half London, half here, or like 40% London, 40% here, and then 20% in different countries in the world. And every time I go to London, because I've got such a big following from the DJing side and then the hustling side and consulting side and marketing and entrepreneurship and all these other communities where they know me, every time I go to London, people will be like, yo, Raj, you in town? I saw you checked in on Facebook or whatever. Can we meet up for a coffee? What happened was, I actually love spending time with my parents. So if I spend time with all my friends, coffee, it's like land, coffee, see mom and dad, eat amazing curry, coffee, plane, leave. Right? That wasn't working for me. So I was like, okay, cool. I texted out, I was like, if you want to meet me in London, come along to this bar and you can meet me. The first time I did that, 120 people showed up, right? And these were people that were also saying to me, like, someone like Santosh might be like, yo, I need to meet somebody who's looking to raise investment in a pharmacy. I've got $500,000. I only know the pharmacy industry. I need to invest. So I'll be like, come talk to my buddies over here. They've got a couple of pharmacies. They're 25 years old. They're on the come up. They're looking to raise some capital. Somebody might be like, you know, I'm thinking about going to Bali, but I don't know where to go. All right, cool. Here's my friend over here. She's been to Bali. Ask her where to go. So it was called My Friends, Their Friends, right? We did 2 of them. The second one was even bigger. And then when I came to Dubai, I was like, if I didn't make myself the star, if I removed it about my friends and their friends and made it my friends, your friends, and shout out to this girl, Sonia, here in Dubai, who changed the name. She changed the name, tried the concept, and then gave me the concept back. So she came up with this name, and I was like, this is dope. And now we've done 4 of those events, okay? 4 of those events we did in order. Dusty's in DIFC. The second one was at Lima in City Walk. Third one was at West Lodge in JW Marriott Marquis. And 4th one we did just now in Morimoto in Renaissance. Offline, word of mouth, people inviting people, but registering through Eventbrite. So now I have a community of 994 people after 4 events. And my only KPI, key performance indicator, is to help people in Dubai make more friends. Because I have a shit ton of friends. I can start making friends now and I'm good. But it's to help other people make friends, right? Connect them with each other. And I don't care whether they invest in an app together or they go traveling around the world together or they get married or whatever. I couldn't care less. My whole thing is that my friends, your friends, is giving people a chance to make friends with each other. So I fully believe in the offline thing. And by the way, for all this other shit that I do, my biggest high is playing on 2 turntables and telling everybody put your hands in the air, and they do. Because I don't know whatever drugs you've tried in the past, but that's the biggest rush in the world, is being on stage and telling people to scream and they scream. That sends you to that's like a God-given like energy that shows up when you tell people to do that shit.
Politicians apply that all the time. That's
Yeah.
why it's such a big job, rewarding job.
Yeah, but politicians will say, put your wallets on the air.
Yeah, exactly.
1.5 hours, I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
That you spoke for is quite an in thing.
He's answering on the questions.
my man, yeah.
My friends, your friends.
Yeah.
Maybe by a different name on Twitter. It's quite an in thing in Dubai already. So
It
I
is
was-
his.
Yeah, so I was
No one in
invited.
Dubai is his.
I was invited to a restaurant called Tingai in
Tingairi.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
In downtown on the boulevard.
downtown.
Yeah.
So where I could get around my friends and somebody else gets his friends.
Yeah.
And the welcome drink and the first salad and everything is free.
Yeah?
And that's quite an in thing. So that's
Yeah.
The thing is, he's talking about.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to go to it, just type in myfriendsyourfriends.com or at myfriendsyourfriends on Instagram, and you're all welcome to come. Like, I don't even need to invite you. There's a link in the bio, or you just go to the URL, type in your details. We should be announcing the next one in the next few days. So, my man, what's your name?
Yeah.
Oh, are we finishing? Because once I'm gone, I'm gone. So whatever you want to know about anything,
Yeah.
ask me right now. I'll answer you from the heart. I've got nothing to hide. Like, my life is good. I just want to share it. Yeah.
So I have two questions. One is technical, one related to your.
So ask one because I have one.
Yeah. And you have one as well, or you're just chilling?
Me? No, I have
Oh, okay. I sit like that as well.
Yeah,
Like-
I'm just chilling.
Yeah, that's it.
Just chilling.
So how do you measure the effectiveness or the influence power of the content that you have put in? Like, what defines what's the measure of? You put in a content. How do you measure that it actually impacted the audience? Is the likes, is the comments, or the engagement, or what?
Like,
You
yeah.
look at the likes and comments like, oh, girl in a bikini will get more likes than
Yeah.
You know, getting good content on Instagram.
But for some people, a girl in a bikini is good content for them. So, I guess what I would say is that there's a number of ways you can do it. The first thing is, what are your goals? Okay, so I'm going to give you two examples. One is clicks and click-throughs and branding exposure. When I was doing some work with Golf Online, because they just did so well with the strategies I gave them that I often find myself using them as a crutch to give examples. But basically, I took one guy who worked in their store. They had to have a store to display a lot of their products, right? So they did it in their head office. The guy who was the store manager, I took him to a golf course with 5 or 6 new golf clubs. He tested them out. He put the videos online. People saw the videos, decided what they wanted, came into the store. His name was Darren. He still works there today. And people would go in and be like, dude, I saw you on YouTube. I want you to be the one that recommends which of these. I saw all 6 that you reviewed. I'm down to 2. Can you be the one to tell me which one I should go for, okay? That is a really clear KPI, key performance indicator, because the video might get a couple of thousand views, and then people start showing up in store and saying, hey dude, I know you, I recognize you, I trust you. I'd like for you to be the one that helps me complete my transaction. Short term, long term. I was consulting for a company called Bench Events, right? They have the ultimate portfolio of investor conferences across hotels and food and beverage. So people that own hotels, people that invest in them, you know, operators like Marriott, Starwood, all these other dudes. They all meet in this conference once a year. They're big in hotels, they're reasonably big in food and beverage. They're not big at all in aviation as of 2 years ago. So I started looking at that new conference, and luckily the managing director of that, guy by the name of John Howell, super smart guy, right, was fully open for making content and is still crushing content on LinkedIn right now. He made a podcast. He interviewed the CEO of a airline company. The podcast's still on SoundCloud today, didn't do massive numbers, maybe a few dozen or a few hundred. Jump forward a year to the next aviation conference. I meet a dude, he goes, I work for this aviation company. I said, yo, that's crazy. Did you know that we interviewed your CEO? He goes, and I was like, but it didn't get a lot of views. You probably, I don't even know if you get a chance to check it out. He goes, did I check it out? He goes, that's the reason why I joined the company. And I was like, now check this shit out, whoever said, not only did he join the company, he turned down working for the company. He was like, nah, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
Then he heard the CEO that interviewed him on the podcast, liked him more, called him back and said, you know what, I've got an idea of your bigger picture. I actually want to come work for you. That CEO then sent him to the conference, which meant an actual ticket sale. I can't script that from this sitting position,
Yeah.
but that shit happens. So what are your KPIs? Dude, everything and nothing at once. Sales, advertising, marketing, branding, promotion, click-throughs, cookie installs, forms filled in, funnels, I don't know, as well as just a random person telling you that they like what you do.
That's good. Like, I've been creating videos and doing awesome work, and I'm not doing anything with it. Nothing. What would you recommend?
The first thing that you should do, because I've been to your Instagram, it needs work, bro.
I know.
It needs work. First thing you need to do, imagine this, I was on your Instagram today. I messaged out that like I'm gonna be at Awesome Walkers today. I couldn't even tag in at Awesome Walkers because if I did and they went to your page, there was no link in your bio. which even if it's to your meetup.com or your Eventbrite, here's what I would do. Let me jump in your seat for a second. Firstly, I would encourage people to sign up via Eventbrite so you can communicate to them via email. Meetup.com is cool, but it's a bit generic, and it can be some people that are into philosophy, it can be some people that are into chess, it can be some people into making dolls out of wax, who knows. Get specific records of people that work, that like your brand, okay? Start building that up. Secondly, you're making content. This is genius. What you now need to do is sit with this brother right here and find 1-minute clips, cut them out, subtitle them, give it a title at the top, like you've seen on my videos, copy that. Put it on your Instagram, type in, use hashtags. So if it's my video, if it's this one, type in content, content creator, marketing, startups, tech, entrepreneurship, brands, Dubai, my Dubai, UAE, I love UAE, London, Raj Kotecha. Put those in there.
What is the purpose of that?
Because some people just follow hashtags on Instagram. So some people that are very pro UAE will follow the I love UAE thing to find out what's going on in the UAE. Some people that like content creators that are up and coming vloggers and bloggers might discover the hashtag content creator, see that you are now a content creator, want to hang out with you and bring 3 of their friends. So that's another thing I would look at doing, is putting out content. Thirdly, just because we don't know if it'll work or if it doesn't, put out the full 1.5 hour interview on YouTube. YouTube is there to do that. And if I see it on there and the convenience of you putting it on there, I might direct them towards your video, which means they'll see this brand. And if they're in Dubai, they might be like, oh shit, that's just in JLT. Let me go over there. There are 3 things that could completely shift the ground under the brand of what you're doing at the moment. My question is this: why are you not doing it? Because you've already heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Yeah.
So what's stopping you from executing?
I guess it's because I don't have the end goal in mind. Because if I have the end goal, then it's just a matter of, right now my goal is just to meet interesting people, and I'm doing that.
Okay.
If
Are you
I
in the
had a-
process of coming up with your end goal?
Yeah.
Okay. So forget this proverbial end goal. This is like we're turning into a proper proper therapy session now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like forget the end goal for a second. Firstly, you want to meet people, right?
Yeah.
So what I just told you will bring more people to your space here,
Yeah.
where you will meet more people. So your metric of meeting people will happen as a result of what I just told you to do.
Yeah.
So it funnels directly into what your goals are.
Yeah.
That's what I would recommend. You had a question?
Yes, actually.
Oh, actually, let this brother go first, then we'll come to you.
No, you said before that you did some videos who was not very good.
Yeah.
What you do right now, full of passion, authentic, everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I do when I go on stage and talk to the people.
What do you talk about?
I talk about your untapped potential,
Okay.
unlocking your full potential.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me to create what I got when I'm standing in front of the people. If I want to do a video.
Why?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Then you're not at the top of your potential.
I don't know.
No, you mean video one-on-one, just in front of the camera.
What I
No, you're saying if you're on stage and you're talking to people,
if I have the people in front of me,
yeah, it's lit, it's good, it's rocking.
It's good.
Yeah. So now, what's the difference between that little plastic device over there being on and the button
I
going?
hate it.
But then you're not reaching your full potential.
Okay.
So I don't get the irony of this. I actually said, I talked about this on Facebook the other day, and I'm not saying what you're saying is dumb, but it's from the family of dumb shit, which is that people would come to me and say,
I will not say it, and I say.
yeah, like, it's basically, people have said to me before, like, yo, Raj, I love what you're doing. I love that you're in social media. I want to also get in social media. I want to start an agency in social media. I just don't know how to get customers. And I'm like, the first thing that the first customer is going to ask you to do is get them customers. So if you can't get customers for yourself, then how are you going to get customers for other people? Another example I gave is people say to me, I want to be a lifestyle coach. I want to be a motivational speaker. I'm like, you want to be a motivational speaker? All you've got to do is walk into any city in the world, find 10 unmotivated people, of which you will not struggle. I can throw this pack of cards out of this window right now and I'll hit 5 unmotivated people, right? Put them in a room and motivate them. This is a bunch of excuses. Because you can be a motivational speaker, people have attached themselves to the idea of it as a get out from doing what they should be doing. People want to do what I do and be like me because they think it's cool. It's not. My life is as shit as everybody else's, right? But it's my shit. I like it. For me, it's good. People don't like traveling around the world. They might not like getting in front of people and talking to them. They might not like coming up with brands. They might not like putting 20,000 pounds or like 100,000 dirhams into a business idea and then just waiting for it to happen, right? I love that shit. I love it. That is my oxygen. I brush my teeth with the pressure. I love it, but it might not be for you. So whatever it is that's for you, do that.
Yeah, but you said about the videos you did, they were not very good.
Yeah.
The video you did right now, it's very good.
Yeah.
Because you're authentic and you have whatever you do.
Yeah.
What was wrong with the videos you did before?
I did not understand how I looked on camera and what cadence should be respected. I would keep jumping in and cutting off the celebrity because I felt insecure. So every time that the celebrity would mention somebody that they worked with, if I also knew that other artist, I would look to the camera and be like, yo, shout out to him. The point is not to do that. I was trying to score like points. It's like that dude when he's chatting up a girl in a bar. The girl's trying to talk and explain where she's trying to go in her life, and everything he says, he's trying to punctuate it with a joke.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to shut the fuck up.
So what you're saying is your inferiority was speaking.
Exactly, because, and also it was my nerves of being like, I'm actually talking to a dude who I've been watching on MTV for the last 12 years. I am freaking out. I had to calm that down and respect the fact that I am not here to serve my ego. I'm here to serve the person who's watching on a laptop, God knows where else in the world, who's also a fan of this person, who doesn't need my ass shouting, interrupting every 2 or 3 minutes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
So, and here's the macro point, because I want to make sure that you benefit from this, right? No matter what happens, that journey is the same. The first cake you make versus the 100th cake you make, the 100th has to be better. So I respect what you're saying about, like, I just don't like the camera, I just don't want to do it. But the reality is, 2 will be twice as good as 1, 3 will be twice as good as 2, 4 will be twice as good as 3, and you'll eventually look back and be like, damn, this is my 111th video, and I'm actually pretty good. And confident, remember this, I would never get a tattoo because I'm far too much of a pussy, but if I was to ever get a tattoo, it would be, confidence is a series of small successes. When someone comes up to you and says, what's your name, bro?
Fleming.
Fleming, that's a fucking good name. If someone comes up to you and be like, yo, Fleming, that thing that you said on stage when you were in Al Ain or when you were in Berlin, and I saw that clip on Instagram, yo, I was having a bit of a shitty day that day. Like, I got a flat tire and I was going for an interview and I spilled coffee on myself. But that thing that you said about just getting past it, that really helped. Watch what impact that makes on you. The next time you go on camera knowing that you helped that guy or that girl, just start. Trust me, I'm here at Raj Kotecha on Instagram, DM me, Facebook, whatever. I've told you my email, Raj at Creative Content Agency. Just start. I'll look at your shit whenever I get some time and I'll message you back and be like, all right, dude, this is what you're doing right. Because I want to see everyone win, dude.
And just when you embrace the fact that you don't start by being perfect,
Yeah, you don't.
everything's okay.
Nobody does. I want to let this dude get a question in. Go on.
You need to get one card.
Huh?
Not the one card, only one card.
Oh, right. I'm just playing with it. Go on.
Earlier on, you were talking about hashtags, and I guess that's a part of discoverability.
Yeah.
And people here have had a lot of questions around virality. But there is a way to cheat virality, which is to just piss people off. Every time someone here has brought up someone who's viral, it's been someone who's bothers a politician or Donald Trump. Those people get eyeballs. Can you turn those same eyeballs into people that actually come back to you, or they look at you and that's it?
It all comes down to intent. What Donald Trump has done, in my opinion, is he's played a volume game. So what you'd call net fishing. You imagine you go fishing and you use a net. You basically get everyone's attention, and then you figure out which of those attention, like those fish, are of value to you, right? And you don't mind annoying the 49% to get the 51% vote. Can you do it another way? 1000%. There are so many executives I've consulted in the past that are like, I'm in this industry, I'm in the industry of aviation in Africa. And I'm like, okay, cool. What else are you interested in? Wildlife. Okay, you're interested in wildlife. I didn't give this advice because the guy I'm referring to, John, is a natural. He figured it out himself. But he aligned himself with one of his passions, which is trying to save the gorillas in the jungle in Rwanda. And one of the exercises that he did was putting on a gorilla suit, which was part of a massive thing called the Gorilla Run. And he did an 8-kilometer run around London and took me along with him and a bunch of other people. It was difficult. But
You also wore the suit?
yeah, I wore the suit. He posted it on LinkedIn
Okay.
and got impressions. He didn't piss anybody off, but he posted himself in a gorilla outfit saying he's raising money for gorillas in Rwanda, which, by the way, happens to be where his next conference is. So how you earn somebody's attention at the very, very top, whatever the high-level hook is, as long as you hold their hand in a respectful way down to your final sales message, you can 1000% convert that. If you're into golf or like I said, gluten-free pizzas, right now if I'm an executive wondering what the hell am I going to post about, and I'm an accountant and I believe that everyone's an accountant, so I don't want to get caught up in the noise, or my industry's too boring, I don't want to come across as boring, start putting on gluten-free pizza recipes on LinkedIn and see what happens. Why? Because people will be like, that's a cool recipe, let me click on this guy. Oh man, this guy's also an accountant? Well, now he's already won the fact that I share some values with him. If I share values with him, maybe I'd share values with, if I share values with him in the kitchen in the way that he's respecting his body or nature, maybe he'd respect my accounts the same way if I gave it to him. It's like when that guy or girl walks in to your office to sell you something and the guy is clearly ripped. You're like, this dude is putting work into his body. You can see the cuts on the arm. You're like, if I give this guy my account, my mortgage account, well, if he can show that he's disciplined enough to eat right and look after his body, he's probably got a sense of discipline. It probably maps to him emailing me back within a day every time I've got an issue. Makes sense? It's called proxying. It says, I teach it in the academy. It's called proxying.
So like in LinkedIn specifically.
In
So it's
LinkedIn.
like if you do something unusual in LinkedIn, you suddenly get a lot of emails saying, oh, this is not Facebook. This is
Good.
LinkedIn."
Good. Forget them.
Yeah.
Because they didn't come up with LinkedIn.
They are angry birds. Then.
Yeah. They're angry birds. Listen, nobody makes up the rules, right? You know why you're doing it, and you know what you want to happen on the other side, correct? Forget everybody in the middle. You should see some of the outlandish stuff I post on LinkedIn. Why? Because the attention on LinkedIn is valuable. Like, it's business people.
Yes, true.
And especially in Dubai, where everyone's just wearing a suit, being like like being so super lame and boring, right? It's actually
You go
it's
to the boring people
yeah,
to
it's
live in
actually pretty sexy to see a brown guy in a hoodie being like, this is what's right for your business. Tell me if I'm wrong. Like, test me, CEO of whatever company. I don't care. I don't walk into all boardrooms like this because sometimes I'm just not feeling it. But I'll go into boardrooms or meetings and be like, yo, this is my opinion. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm historically wrong, right? It'll play out in the market. It'll play out when this happens. But I don't think I'm wrong. And I don't think just because your bio is up to date on LinkedIn or that because you wear a 3-piece suit that you're any better than me, because I will run your ass down the street when it comes to my strategy versus yours if I believe that I'm right. And if I'm wrong, then that person deserves to win regardless of whether they're wearing a suit or a clown's outfit. It's meritocracy. I don't think I'm Mr. Ho-Ha great, but I think that I should be allowed a fair shot to have my voice heard in the environment of the highest rankings of business because I deserve it. This is crucial.
God, so how is
Nah, because why would you be a creative content agency guy if your website's shit? Good, great question. Because I'm telling you from the beginning that there are multiple ways to touch your customer.
Yeah.
What's your name, my love? Farah. Farry. How am I going to get Farry to my website? I've got to find out who she is first. There's no hashtag generally on the internet that she's going to discover that's going to bring her to my website, but she might be on LinkedIn. So whereas my website might be pretty whack, might not be so good, my Instagram is lit, like it's really good, and I'm much more likely to get your attention. Top of funnel achieved, I've got you hooked. Next, I want you to buy something from me. Do I want you to put you into a funnel that leads much quicker into my business, or put you into a funnel that slowly drips to my business? My website isn't that popular because I've got so much inbound demand for my services because of the actual shit that I put on social media where I give them advice to put stuff on their own social media. So I get emails, like some people call it inbound marketing. I just say getting attention where the attention is. That's what Gary taught me. Like, I'm not passionate. I personally hate LinkedIn. Sorry to anybody on LinkedIn who's watching this video online. I'll probably post it on LinkedIn, but I can't downplay what the attention is there. And I didn't play on LinkedIn until LinkedIn started to play by my rules. Let me explain. LinkedIn never used to be a place for video. Video was MySpace, YouTube, Facebook. Now this is important to know. You can all do well off this tomorrow. Remember back in the day when you could put a YouTube video on Facebook and people would see it? Then Facebook launched their own Facebook launched their own video platform. That means that they don't want to drive you over to YouTube, right? So if you start posting a YouTube link, instead of 8% of people seeing it, 1% might, and 8% will see it if you post it natively on Facebook. They changed the algorithm around their own platform, right? LinkedIn used to be really keen on sharing YouTube videos. Now they've got their own video platform. So you might want to post it natively on LinkedIn, but here's the key difference. Remember what I'm about to tell you. Creative people hung out on MySpace and YouTube and Facebook. I don't think creative is the first thing you think when you go on LinkedIn. It's a bunch of boring business dudes, basically, right? Recruitment consultants and old dudes trying to hit on chicks. Right? There's not that much creativity there. So now there's an arbitrage where if you put creative stuff on LinkedIn and on video where the algorithm is ranked really, really high, you are going to get discovered. And that is when you can do something with that attention and funnel it into your business. Make sense?
It does, but won't you look like the odd guy? What is this guy doing around over here?
Dude, the way that
I agree with what you're saying.
the way
Stand out easily.
the way that you know that we live in a smoothie culture now, right? There's one smoothie called Innocent Smoothies in the UK that you often find in the dairy section where the milk is and the milkshakes, right? It should be in the juice section because it's a smoothie. It's closer to a juice. But these geniuses somehow got the retailers to put it in the milk section, which is why you go milk, 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 smoothie, milk, milk, milk. Now tell me about which juice brand is standing out in the juice aisle versus which smoothie brand is standing out in the dairy aisle. Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be generic clear apple juice brand A, generic clear apple juice brand B, generic clear apple juice brand C, or do you want to be Innocent Smoothies, which is right next to the strawberry milk?
No, but if I was that person, I would walk past that milk section altogether because I'm a vegan. So you would lose an entire market by doing that as well.
But that's a fundamental. That's a fundamental.
I would not pass by that section at all. So I would not even see your innocence.
But the thing is, you're telling me after I've given you the example that you're a vegan. Now, if you say to me, I need to get a vegan's attention, then I'm gonna reverse engineer that. I was giving a goalless example.
I'm telling you that
yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
There are people that bypass that section, like the meat section, completely.
Yep.
So whether you have a gold smoothie put there, it wouldn't even draw my attention because I wouldn't be passing by that section.
Right. But I'm not selling that product.
They're not small minorities, big ones.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sell that product to you. If
Quite a big one.
I fully get the vegan thing. The problem is I gave a generic fit-all example and you gave a specific outcome. If you would say to me, how are we going to get the attention of vegans? I might be like, well, what are we doing? Are we going to do vegan mints? Okay, out of the whole vegan aisle, instead of putting the vegan mints next to all the other vegan mints brands, let's come up with another shtick for it and put it in the vegan meal kit section and start by launching the brand as part of a vegan meal kit. And as soon as people open the meal kit, and we've all done this with taco sets, you're like, God damn, this salsa's nice in here, this generic salsa. Now, when people are going crazy for it and the feedback is good, let's start launching our own salsa jars so you can have the salsa jar from the meal kit inside your main meal. Whatever you want to bring to the table, I told you, bring your hardest questions. I don't care. We can reverse engineer everything into a right answer.
Just getting off to a different track is like, what is the entry exit for the social media influencers? Is it too easy being an entrant in this industry? Or is there too many people who are just coming out of it? What is it?
What do you do?
I'm a digital marketer myself.
Okay. And what's your
I have a restaurant as well.
what's your shtick inside digital marketing?
Sorry?
What's your thing in digital marketing?
Content creation and videos.
All right, cool. Let me tell you how I become an influencer in your life with 150 YouTube views, where I think you would actually pay me actual cash. 2 weeks ago, I was walking through Dubai airport. 2-3 weeks ago when I landed from the UK. I picked up, what magazine, Michael? Time Out? I picked up Time Out magazine, okay? in that magazine, it said every single nomination for Time Out's Restaurant of the Year Awards Dubai 2018. There are 24 categories, approximately 10 restaurants in each category. 1 winner, 9 nominations, yeah? Michael and myself, over a period of one Saturday, about 2 weeks ago, decided to slide down the rabbit hole of, I wonder which of these actual brands versus the one that won the Time Out Award and the ones that have the most followers on Instagram. So let's look at Best Italian. Best Italian goes to company A. But when I compare all 10 Italian restaurants in that category, the number one Instagram account behind that brand could be company D. I have that information. Would that information be valuable if I shared it with you? Especially if it was a restaurant that was in your cuisine.
Yeah.
So I could influence you, right? I could say to you, hey, listen, can I buy you a beer? I've got this information. I need 5 minutes with you. You'd let me buy you a beer, right? Vegan beer, possibly, whatever. I get it, right? So yeah. Halal alcohol is fine, right? So here's what we would do. I now have influence over you. The problem that people don't understand about influence is it's a sniper game, not an AK-47 game. People think that having a pretty nose or a six-pack gets you the influence. No, it gets you attention en masse. But it doesn't mean that that attention is valuable. If you bring me 12 eggs and 11 are rotten versus somebody else who brings me 4 eggs and 3 are healthy, sorry, vegan example again, I realize now you're in the room. But like, you understand that that's more valuable. So what's the entry level for influence? Anything, dude. There are a couple of guys on my phone right now who are massive introverts that never ever leave the house, that have all sorts of like social awkwardness issues. And if they text me tomorrow and say, this is going down, you need to pay attention to it, I'm paying attention to it. And I just looked over to Kyron actually, who's not that weirdo, but how many times have you texted me and been like, yo, this? And I'm like, thank you, bro, I'm really grateful. He's an influencer. You don't know him from anybody. And here I am popping all this shit, like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. And you might be like, I wonder who it is that's gonna get in his ear. I wonder if it's the next Warren Buffett interview that's gonna inspire him as an entrepreneur. No, it's that dude over there. Because he can text me right now and be like, Raj, you need to pay attention to this. And I will stop whatever I'm doing, and there's about 5 dudes like him in the world that can text me and be like, you need to pay attention to this. And I'll stop whatever I'm doing and pay attention to it. It's influence, bro. It's got nothing to do with social media. It's amplified by social media, like it's magnified. It has its own nuances when it's presented in social media, but influence is influence is influence.
But
Make
how do
sense?
you get to be a top influencer then?
Value.
You missed the first part of the.
Okay, but
No, value. You can influence me with value and proof. So maybe when Kyron and I became friends 4 years ago, here's a specific example. I was flicking through Twitter. I see this dude. He is posting almost everything that I would post tweet for tweet because he's a nerd. He follows Silicon Valley. He follows venture capital culture, and he follows hip hop. Not normal to get that combination in a cocktail, right? So I reached out to him and I was like, hey dude, I don't know who you are, where you live, but I really respect the way you choose stories to tweet about. And I just wanted you to know that I respect what you're doing and, let's be friends. Jump forward 2 years, we get together for lunch or coffee in Toronto when I was over in Toronto. And now here he is in Dubai, and the first person he reached out to was me. It comes down to value. Why? Because if I'm not curating stories at the same level, I know I can always go to his Instagram account and he's gonna post within 99% what I'd have posted that day anyway. So if you have a Facebook page with a lot of vegan content, if you have Instagram, whatever, anywhere that you present your vegan content, I don't know if you missed this before you walked in, but I was vegan for about 8 or 9 weeks, and it was the best time in my health, bar none. And if I wasn't on the road so much, and you missed this at the beginning, but I'm a
then I
DJ.
can talk to you after.
You can talk to me anytime.
And get
But-
back on that.
Yeah, we can do it. Listen, if you're, and here's the thing. Here's what happens. If you get me into a place where my vegan food is going from 15% of my dishes in a week to 95% of my dishes in a week, and then I start going to the gym and lifting more weights and losing weight on fat on my body, and you start doing that, you know what the number one thing is? This is gonna sound like a real asshole thing to say, guys, forgive me. You then get time with me. And that is special because anything that you need help with, from my world, media, entertainment, celebrity, branding, sales, advertising, which I charge a lot for per hour, just because we're hanging out, it's the least I can do is help you. The least I can do is serve you because you've been so generous to bring, you've actually put me in what's called ethical debt. If I start eating better and losing weight and looking better and actually looking better in front of the camera because of your influence in my life, I'm indebted to you. And I'm trying to figure out any way that I can do something for you just to express my gratitude, because
like
humans are good, that's what we do.
It's like the Godfather, right? The favor back.
Yeah, yeah. Yo, we just went for 2 hours, bro.
I didn't know. Yeah.
Did-
It just went in the flow.
Yeah, actually maybe not.
Started from you.
I'm so glad I
Yeah.
had the second guest today.
Yeah.
We didn't
Session
need one.
begins with your arrival. That's it.
You were guest number 1 and 2.
Yeah. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
But it just began. How then?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. No, but is everybody covered? Like, because you
No.
until my friends, your friends,
Recap, please.
he's got a video. See? What's the value of making content? What should I do with it? You deliver value
not
just
the
by
same
sending it
thing.
over.
When is your next event? So we can.
At My Friends Your Friends on Instagram or myfriendsyourfriends.com. Go to those websites, register, follow that, and then come to that event, and you'll see me there. My attention will be divided between 250 people, but we'll get a chance to like have a quick hug and a chat, and then you know what I mean. So, you've been awfully quiet. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I actually want to ask you a question.
Yeah. What's your name?
You said
Andrea.
Yeah. So you said you're setting up this academy, right? on
Yeah.
Creative writing.
Yeah.
How would you actually teach? Obviously, you can teach Instagram and more than the basics, but how do you teach someone creativity? Because creative content writing obviously requires a lot.
You know what? I think I've hacked it. Real talk. What do you do?
I've got a consultancy and event company, but my background is health and fitness, which I used to do.
Health and fitness.
I used to be Miss Fitness and figure company.
Yeah, you also look like the kind of woman that just decided to stop aging, like some time ago. And was just like, I'm done with aging. So well done to you. Yeah, between you and like Mrs. Vegan Universe over here, I think I'm gonna be fine, right?
My name is Sunita.
So, Sunita, nice to meet you. So, how do you teach creativity? I believe that there are a couple of models I can share with you to kickstart the process in your mind. One of them that I teach is called inside out versus outside in. And it's basically a story generation method for social media. Because one thing that a lot of clients say to me is, how do I come up with a story to post on social media or something for my brand to emphasize to get engagement? So here's how you do it. I charge for this to clients, and I charge a lot because it works. Inside out means taking something that's going on inside your world and finding a line of empathy, a way of relating it to your customer's world. It's going from the inside of your world out. Outside in is something that's going on in your customer's world, and finding a way to draw that into something going on inside your business. So, for example, you run a business, an e-commerce company, and the PA, you know, whoever the CEO is, her PA has just hit 10 years inside the company. And her PA, say that his name is Paul, right? Has been with the company for 10 years and is the longest serving employee. So she decides as CEO to recognize Paul on the 10-year anniversary of Paul being her PA. Instead of just being like, here's a gift card and a meal for 2, and I'm gonna give you 1 extra day's holiday a year for your loyalty, she tells the staff, of which there's maybe 15, 20 staff, who all love Paul because Paul is the gateway to the CEO and Paul gets everything done, to be like, you know what, we're gonna surprise Paul, we're gonna go into his office, bring your smartphones, and we're gonna give him the gifts, and we're gonna record it. So they do that. Here you go, Paul, thanks for your loyalty, you're the longest serving employee. They then take that content from everyone's smartphones, put it on the email list for the company, ship it out, and say to everybody, you know, on our website, we're doing 10% off, type in the coupon code Paul10. Something that happened inside your organization got spun into an outside story, which actually raised your sales with your customers. That's called inside out. Outside in is, for example, in the UK, right? We all went crazy this year for the royal wedding. So imagine everybody's going crazy for the royal wedding. You as a business decide to take the outside story and internalize it into your business, what we call appropriation. You take that story and you go, you know what, guys? You communicate on your social media. We've gone crazy for the royal wedding, you have. In fact, we've decided to create a quiz. And the quiz is 10 questions about the royal wedding that you might want to answer. And everybody who enters, regardless of how you do, will get a 10% off coupon. So the questions are really basic, like how many bridesmaids will the bride have? Which, you know, who will be performing at the wedding reception? Will it be Elton John? Will it be Jay-Z? Whatever the case may be. You ask the questions, people fill in the questionnaire, drop in their email address, and you've started building up your email list. You've hit a business metric by taking an outside story and internalizing it into your business. Make sense? That's one method. And that is probably the fastest in my whole life since I was born that I've ever explained that. So imagine if I broke that down to you over 20 minutes. Imagine if I pulled up from my hard drive real live examples of people that I've done this for in the past and reverse engineered it and broke it down as stage 2 to go a level deeper, and then stage 3 spent 30 minutes with you a week to actually come up with headlines so that you've got assignments when you go away to create that. What kind of impact would that have on your business? Pretty good, right? Say it loud.
Amazing.
Right, there we go. So that's what I would hope to achieve if you were to join the academy.
I'm not going to say quit. You have to say you're done, and then I'm going to stop.
I can go. Listen.
I was going to do something else, but
No.
Forget that. But give us some more content.
No. Here's what you need to do. What you need to do is come up with, right now whilst I'm sat here, because I'm not going to be sat here for some time, I expect, unfortunately, right? Come up with hard questions that relate specifically to you. Like if you're wearing that pink t-shirt and you want to start your own pink t-shirt business and you want to figure out how to stand out between the people that sold you that and your pink t-shirt business, ask me right now, because I will answer it for you with the same level of respect that I would give to, and the same level of effort and authenticity that I would give to a paying client, because I genuinely want everyone to win. I figured this out. We can go till 5 in the morning. This is no effort. This is light work for me. I can do this before breakfast.
Yeah, I have one simple question. I mean, I've also worked in France media sector, which is like converting the one story from one medium to another medium.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a restaurant here. It's a biryani joint, right?
Nice.
So what I'm trying to actually, what I'm trying to actually do is
Unforgettable Biryani, the shop's name.
So the shop name is Unforgettable Biryani.
Okay.
So it's my parents' like business that they started up.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to do, and I wanted to ask your feedback, is that I wanted to convert. We've met a lot of great customers in our restaurant.
Yeah.
People came in, they shared their stories. We had an amazing conversation there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to convert that into a comic strip, which is like I'm trying to create a character called Biryani Man, which is like a person who is not just only offering biryani, but is a person who, like biryani dish, also brings rice, meat or vegetables, spices all together in one plate. So that's in the same way I'm trying to form up this character in a comic book that people from different parts of the world, different cultures, different backgrounds can just come together, share their stories, and the Biryani Man is just like saving the day of helping somebody out. And that is some kind of a comic book that I'm trying to convert. And then I don't know that if I should make an e-book out of it. There's a theme song I've come up with it as well. The audio is there. So from that comic book, then I could create maybe a short videos, episode series, web series, and then from there maybe, you never know, can become a film as well.
Okay, so this is what's really dope, right? This is what's really cool. The reason why I came up with the 4 P's of content was to take all these options. Should I put my effort into a theme song? Should I do a comic? Should it be an animated comic? Should it be color? Should it be on Instagram? Should it be on YouTube?
Yeah.
Right? And slice 2 lines into it. When you slice 2 lines into a box, you end up with 4 boxes. Those 4 boxes are plan, produce, publish, promote. When we start by planning, we first have to accept the fact, as I mentioned to you earlier in today, that we can't make assumptions about the market. We can't know the market, we can only test it. So in the planning stage, the question is, what tests are we going to run on the idea? And the goal of those tests is to end up with something called proof of concept, which means some sort of nominal traction that proves that something's working. So the very first thing to do would be to look at other brands, before you start thinking about Biryani Man and you're called Unforgettable Biryani, you might want to call it Unforgettable Stories. So now do we call it Biryani Man Interviews or do we call it Unforgettable Stories? We could already find ourselves in an infinite loop debate, which we're stuck in for 3 months when we could be making actual content. So the first thing that you do is you look at other companies that have done great at storytelling their customers. I would direct your attention towards a website called moo.com, MOO.com. They are a genius company because they took the humble business card and they made the business card into a commodity that people care about again. So what happened in that case was that they realized that the business card that they sell, until the design that the customer puts on it, it's just a stock business card. So what they did is they used their emails to do something which I call mirroring, which is showing customers to other customers to inspire other customers to buy. So what would happen is they might have a card which is a square card which is thick. So they'll say, here's how Maurice the florist used our square card to push her rose promo at Valentine's. The mirroring, thank you my brother, I appreciate that. Is that chai?
Yes,
I'll stick with the water if that's okay, thank you so much. I don't drink chai. Is it chai?
You don't drink?
I don't drink, I'm weird. Okay, I'm gonna try it if you said so. I'm gonna chai it.
It's chai.
See what I did? Right, so this is what you do. So the first thing that you do is you start telling the stories of people that eat your biryani. So is there a guy called Alex who drives all the way over from the marina to your biryani joint? Thank you, my brother.
That's brand positioning also.
Yeah, exactly. Chaipedia.
Masafi.
Not positioning savvy.
Can I take the Masafi bottle back?
Yeah, you can take it, thank you. So
Anyone else wants Masafi bottle?
I want to make sure you actually make money on this, right? So why has Alex driven from the marina to try your biryani? Is it because his granddad served in the war with Indians and he's used to that flavor in his house because his granddad used to bring the things over? Telling that story will get more people that look and sound like Alex that live in the marina to drive over to eat your biryani. Then why does somebody always order a half portion from you? Like instead of ordering one portion, they order 2 half portions. One at 12:30, one at 5:30. Because they don't have that much of a lunch break because they're the busiest dentist in the whole of your neighborhood. And so they order 2 half portions and you do it for that customer and that inspires that another customer to come in and ask for a half portion, which is still sales. So that mirroring and turning customers so that they reflect on each other is the first thing I would do. When you start seeing trends about stories that resonate, you then go to a animation company and say, you know what, I've found 15 or 20 of these stories. From an animation perspective, which one of these resonates the best? They go, you know what, we'll animate the first one for you for free because clearly you've got 20. So if we impress you with our pitch, you might buy 19 more. But what they also get...
Animators have, I didn't actually knew.
Yeah.
You helped me understand how to narrow down the proof of concept to create which storyline I should pick.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even call it Biryani Man or Unforgettable Stories in the first instance because if you stack your dominoes, that's like domino 8 or domino 15.
Right.
The first thing is, will your customers tell you stories?
Yeah, that's...
And if they will, how will you then tell them on, like how will you share them on? Has that got enough to get you started? You can email me, raj@creativecontentagency.com with just like, I'm talking about 2 paragraphs of what you're actually gonna do, and then send me another email 2 weeks later with 2 paragraphs of what you actually did. And if you put in the work, I will help you.
I'm sorry, I just have a quick idea for you. You can do like Popeye, when he's finished.
Yeah.
He has a superpower. This biryani man, every time he eats biryani, he can get a new superpower.
Yeah.
And then he can go, I don't know, to Burj Khalifa and jump from Burj Khalifa. So if you put it very locally, but so everyone will be like, okay, biryani, and then so biryani gives extra power, special power.
And if you say veg biryani, I will also put it.
You're giving a solution. What I'm seeing from him is he's going behind the thought process.
It was the process. I just give one of
Yeah. And also as well, like just before you jump in, at a high level as well, look at the regeneration of certain foods from a strategic point of view. Like look at quinoa, look at avocados, look at grain toast, like all these things have made a comeback.
About it, that I actually made some of those, you see in newspapers as cartoons.
Yeah.
So I've made certain kind of cartoons, and so I have connected with the food online ordering partner, right?
Yeah.
So I made one cartoon from the food online ordering partner.
Yeah.
That if you order through Talibas,
Yeah.
our biryani, it will be reached there,
Yeah.
and it will be an unforgettably fast delivery.
So here's what you do: come up with a rough version of the, come up with a rough version, a one-page A4 page of your cartoon, have a male one and a female one, or male lead and a female lead. Okay, drop both inside the box. When they take it out, leave the names out of the characters in the quotes, and encourage people to fill their own names in. So when Wendy and Chris buy your biryani, they stick it on the fridge, and Wendy is encouraged to put Wendy's name under the female character and Chris under the Chris. And now they've personalized this 95% baked media asset, this printout, and now they're going to keep it. Because it's like sending somebody a mug with Samir written on it. You understand what I mean? That's one thing that you could do.
That's not a good one.
Anybody else? Are we good? Oh, sorry, man, you wanted to ask. Sorry, go ahead.
You had the 6 P's before. You had plan, produce, publish, promote, patience. What was it?
Prove.
Prove.
Yeah.
I was actually
Yo, I'm so proud of all you guys. Shit, you remembered that?
Yeah.
God damn, even I was like.
Prove and patient, I was thinking about 7th one, pray.
Patience, you said patience.
Yeah.
Very important.
And if nothing works, you're pissed.
Yeah.
Can I share a question, please?
You choose who goes next. Yeah.
Yeah, related to the process of where you are today. You seem to be an influencer even before the technology comes aboard. You've been an influencer all your life. So my question is, let me put it this way. Can I become an influencer and an advisor or a consultant or an expert of that field? Does it have to start at the same time? Or can I start to play with that technology now, fiddle myself with the camera, become familiar with these tools, and in the meantime become like you? Because you're not just an influencer. You produce content live for the brands. You revive the brand. If I will talk about Coca-Cola problems now, Coca-Cola will have solutions in 20 minutes. So you're able to give solutions, not just influencing. What's your secret of being able to give that life experience? Must have been the life experience that you have, right?
If the question is what's the secret behind the life experience, it's life experience.
No, I mean, can I take a message today to say that I can become a person who share content online, but that doesn't mean that I'm the mature person to share the value, and I should work hands in hands on my mind, and on the books I read, on the experience I gain, on the problems I solve simultaneously, on how to master my brand online.
Yeah, I mean, so whether you're going to be a consultant or a quote-unquote influencer or a content creator or advisor or anything like that, the common denominator exchange point in that transaction is value. If you can offer value, you can do whatever the hell you want. Like, I can walk into a room and choose one of 10 titles because none of them matter. It's just whatever the ego is of the client that they want to call you, you know? Who cares? The main thing is, can you offer value? If you can offer value in person and make all the money you need to live your best life, then do it. You don't need to ever be in front of a camera. But if you have a great job and you're happy and you're able to give away all the value that you're able to offer the world on camera and never monetize it, great, continue to live your best life. What you don't want to do, and this is the opposite of what people say in this town, what you don't want to do is try and be like me. Don't try and do what I do, because if you go on my Instagram right now or my Facebook or my YouTube, it looks awesome. Boats, celebrities, flying around the world. It's not like that. They're just moments in time which I've captured and here. Add those two up, whatever number comes out the other side, whatever project, whatever passion, whatever business, whatever cause, map the tactics that I gave you today against that. Don't try and do what I do. Because, dude, like, you've seen it. People go Tony Robbins conferences and all that, and they see like Tony and they go, man, he's making all these people feel great. I want to make all these people feel great. But they don't feel great inside. They are just mapping their personality to Tony Robbins or Lewis Howes or any of these people, because inside them they're not complete. The thing is, guys, I'm killing it when it comes to creative content. I can pick up the phone and call all my heroes in the rap world and hip hop world and entertainment world, and I can literally text some of the biggest CEOs in the city whose names are on the buildings and be like, yo, can I speak to you tomorrow? That doesn't mean that is going to play of any benefit to anybody else. It's it's useless. It's what I've built for myself.
Yeah.
But you might want to build something for yourself. And don't assume that because those quote unquote features and benefits are there for me, that they're going to be there for everybody else.
What you're saying, I resonated completely, and I think one of the key problems over here in this scenario of people taking and applying that advice is they're not very connected with themselves.
Yeah. Well, the main point is, brother, that when I said I can call all these people and make all this shit happen, like just do cool stuff and, you know, get meetings with anybody I want, that benefits me. What goes in my mouth doesn't go in your stomach, which is the reason why I can sit in front of you today and be like, look, whatever benefit you get from me being here today, whatever that may be, whether it's just to pass a bit of time because your Netflix account ran out, or actually do something with your business, it's a byproduct of what I'm doing already. I am not here to motivate you. I am not here to do anything for you aside from tell you my story and then just leave with the hope that something goes better in your life in some which way or the other. Because life, typically you're in 3 stages. You're either learning, earning, or returning.
Wow.
What's fucked up with me is that my earning and returning stages have decided to get into bed together.
So
Like-
why is that wrong?
Because I actually find myself, in fact, all 3 of them are in bed together. You can visualize that however you want. But like I'm learning as I go, I'm earning as I'm going, and I'm also returning as I'm going. I'm literally, guys, remember this day. I'm sat in front of you right now telling you, I do not know how the executive learning and development world works. And within 1 year, I will give this program to some of the biggest CEOs in this city. I have no idea, but what I can tell you is that I was mopping a boat floor in Canada, and a year and a half later, I was on a nationwide TV tour. I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I do not know the answers right now. I have no idea. But can you imagine if I'm like this from 6 in the morning until 1 at night when I go to bed? Some good shit's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's because you go with a dogged perseverance towards what
So
you
how
want.
you do that? How you
Everyone
do
wants to shit the same way you do.
that? How you do that? Like, is it the power of mind? You visualize and manifest?
Because, so I think everybody's answer is different and very personal, so I'll give you my most personal answer. Growing up in a working class town with, you know, good chunks of racism in the 1980s, seeing my parents go through stuff like missing out on Christmas presents, missing out on school trips, not having the shit that the other kids had, not, you know, I guess everybody brings their own story to the table, is what pushes me. Like, what I really appreciate about what this brother said before is like, you're influencing, you can influence live. All this internet shit, I didn't come up with it. I didn't come up with broadband in 2005 or whenever it was available to me. I was in the streets selling, hand to hand. I was going up to like, at university, I've got greasy hair and curtains, acne all over my face. Like, I'm not the stud at school, and I'm walking into a group of 12 beautiful girls way outside my league, even to this day, and being like, guys, do you want to come to this party on Sunday? It's do or die. What other choice do I have other than to try and be successful? Because the other option is going back to where I came from. So you can only face forward. It's not a particular mental trick. It's binary. Time is moving forward. You can either face forward or you can kind of like slide back. And one thing I do like about what Tony Robbins says is, if you're not like making progress, you are slipping backwards, because life is moving on. So just by you standing still, you're automatically not keeping up with what life, it's like inflation.
Yeah.
Like everything's going to keep moving forward. So to answer your question, my personal story is like, I've had a whole bunch of like fuck this moments, like where I've been sat in a train shelter, like, and it's raining and I'm on my way to work and I'm in a shirt and it's just started raining and I'm freezing and I'm like, damn, I gotta go to work, I forgot my jacket. But if I go home and get my jacket, I'll miss the train. And if I'm late for work, I'll get docked on my salary. And I was like, this is no life. I need to figure out a way out of this. And then I tried 15 things, or 300 things. 299 of them failed. One of them inspired another 299 ideas, and eventually I got there.
Wow.
So how do you
And do you track
How
them?
long?
Do you track all of them?
Nah, man, I forgot a lot of them. And don't forget, I've been living in nightclubs, so I forgot a lot of stuff for a reason. Like,
So how long between
Put your hands up there.
Yeah.
What did
How
I
long was
say?
it?
from birth, my love. Like from, I was born in a shop. Like, not like, meh, like Till, but like, it wasn't like that. But it was like, but like from 3 months old, I was in a shop. All I know is this. All I know is business, hustling, trying to get it, trying to make it, trying to move forward, trying to better my life. That's all I know. I'm a one-trick pony. That's it.
I'll ask you a question. There's this thing that I tell people where you have results, and results are a result of the actions that you take, right? And the actions that you take are because of the feelings and thoughts that you attach to it. For example, people want to go to the gym because they want to lose weight and all that stuff, but they take the gym membership and then it doesn't happen. Because they have the thoughts and they try to take the actions, but the feelings are not connected with the results. The results are not in your control, actions are. And that's what we can track always, right? My question is, how do you align or get feelings into the equation so that the thoughts, feelings, and actions are aligned so that you get the results that you want? Does that make sense? Results are absolutely not in your control, right? Results are not in your control. What is in your control is actions. You cannot control results. You can
Right. So
control actions.
I think the short answer to that question is, for every action, you just don't judge it too much. Like you can try, like I tried to do this and I did this.
No,
If
I
it doesn't
get-
happen, try again.
No, I get that. I get that feeling. That part of the loop where you don't get the results that you want, you go back to take different actions.
Yeah.
But the problem is, a lot of people don't invest themselves to feel that they really want it. The question was, for example,
Is it doubt or fear, Samir?
my question is, what is the DNA of inserting feelings into the goals that you want to achieve? You're a hustler. You're a person who says, I need to get it no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So the hustler mentality, for example,
Yeah.
is a feeling that is there.
Yeah.
It's an emotion that's some constant excitement. No matter what, life knocks you down, you're back again up.
Yeah.
That is not the case for a lot of people because when they fall, they get up, they fall, they get up. They do it for a couple of times and then they give up.
Yeah.
When you have the intention that no matter what, I am going to get up. When that hits them, when that clocks them into your brain, then you just do it till you get it.
Yeah.
Patience, one of the virtues that you spoke about.
Yeah.
My question to you is, how do you get there?
That is God-given, bro. I couldn't tell you where that comes from. All I know right now is that if someone walks in and says, "Oh, Raj, I saw you here," even if one of you says, "I can't believe I just sat through 2.5 hours of you talking shit about like how you see the world and how easy it is to solve our problems and how great you think you are," I couldn't give a shit. At the same level, if you come up to me right now and kiss me 15 times on my cheek and tell me I'm the greatest person you've met this year, I also at some level don't register that. I just don't care. I don't get wrapped up in any of that energy. And I love to see people win. Think about my KPI. There's so much shit that I could be doing tonight, from being in the club to working at home to a million different things. I'm here selfishly because if I help one of you and you're like, "Yeah, Raj," you see me walking like through MOE or some shit and you're like, "Yo, Raj, my guy." And I'm like, cool. Like that's it. That's my KPI. I'm chilling. I'm never going to ever worry ever for the rest of my life about anything. Like outside the health of myself and my family and the people I love. When it comes to like all that other shit, like career, the market, I couldn't care less. Let the market go down, I'm riding it down. Let it go up, I'm surfing it up. I don't care. Because whatever it is that's inside here is the ultimate ozone layer against people's hate, people's negativity, people's opinion of me. All I care about is the results. Numbers on the board, not money, just impact. I came up with that event with Gary Vaynerchuk, VaynerWorld, right? Gary Vaynerchuk is an entrepreneur, invested early stage in Facebook, Uber, and a bunch of other things. I met him in 2009. We've done about 6 interviews. The last one, 500 people came, IBM sponsored it. It's about 50, 60,000 views. It's an hour's worth of hardcore business content talk like this, right? The amount of people that's helped, it doesn't, that's my numbers on the board. The fact that I can be in like, I was with one of my favorite rappers of all time, right? A guy called Raekwon the chef. I love him dearly. He's always been nice to me. He's from the Wu-Tang Clan, and like he's still to this day a super relevant, respected rapper. We were backstage at his show. He was like, yo, let's get out of here. The show was over. We're walking down the artist exit, like down the stairs. This good-looking white guy comes over. He's like, yo, 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 yo. So I stopped talking to Raekwon because I was like, let this fan just get off what he wants to say. He literally runs up and he's like, you're Raj from VaynerWorld. And I'm like, what the fuck? That to me, I'm still buzzing off that. As I talk about it, I can feel myself like sweating under my hoodie. So if I know that business and everything's going to be okay because that's natural and that's just, I won the DNA lottery that wise. And when I say I won the DNA lottery, it literally could be DNA. My grandfather's 99th birthday, if he'd been alive, was yesterday. And the picture that my sister posted on Instagram, forget black and white, it was brown and brown. Like it's an old picture of my granddad stood with his hands in his pocket next to a counter with like rice in it.
And he looks like you?
Oh, he's way better looking than me, dude. Like my granddad is my god, right? So he was trading. My dad was raised in his shop with him, and I was raised on my grandfather's lap in my dad's shop. So somewhere between nature and nurture, and I reckon I won both. I reckon it's like winning the Friday lottery and the Saturday lottery. Between nature and nurture, I killed it. But I can't take credit for that because everybody has looks. Everybody has luck, and some people have looks, and sometimes luck can be luck. But you get my point, right? Yeah. Some people have some good shit happen to them. I was born lucky, and I continue to be lucky.
Your dad was a hustler as well?
Yeah, man, still is. Yeah, big inspiration in my life, man. He taught me what VAT is. You guys are just tripping off it this year. I was like, my dad, when VAT was 17.5%, my dad would force me to go to the cash and carry to buy Coca-Cola and crisps and sugar and bring it back to the shop, take off the plastic, put it on the shelves. And he was like, what's the price of this? And I'd be like, £10. He's like, no, what's the price of VAT? I'm like, shit, I don't know, 17.5%. How do you figure out that? I'm not like, no mathematician. He was like, what's 10% of 10? Right? What's 5% of 10? Okay, let me do it the way he did it to me. What's 10% of 10? Half it. Half it again. 10, 5, 2.5. £10 plus £1 plus 50 pence plus 25 pence. VAT, well, and half again. So VAT included is £11.75.
Now it's changed.
Yeah. So you'd be like, 10% is 1, half.
So what he did is he exercised your mind completely at a very early stage.
Yeah.
And he simplified it.
I just fucked up that example as well, by the way. Shit, if my dad sees this online, he's gonna beat my ass.
No, but that is DNA, right?
Yeah.
That is,
But it's conditioning, because I think my dad realized as well that his parents went from India to Africa. They went from Africa to England. Every time they moved, they end up in a fucked up situation. And they're like, this kid needs to get out of it. Somebody needs to break out. So he sacrificed. He was like, he got loans to buy me a laptop. He kept me in the shop when I could have been out in the streets as a young man, which would have been dangerous in those days because people weren't always that friendly to brown people. So like, it just is what it is. Like, it is conditioning. Like, I hated it at the time. I was like, why can't I go on this school camping trip? Why can't I go and, hang out with these kids over here? Fair enough, he did the right thing, man. I can't fault him for it. Me and my dad get on like brothers, which is weird. I'll cuss him out if he's sleeping. I'll like wet my finger and put it in his ear and like annoy him and shit. Like, we're like brothers, but in the sense that all the decisions he made were the right decisions. Unfortunately, you don't realize that until you're much older. Yeah. See, like when I was probably 10, when my dad was 38. When you're 10, you're conscious of a 38-year-old man. So now I can see myself and my traits because I can remember him at 38. And sometimes I'll say some shit or I'll look in the mirror in a certain way and be like, fuck, that basically looks like the dad that I was looking at when I was 10. Again, just lottery win. Like, I just got lucky and continue to be lucky. There are other things that I can't do. Mom's just amazing and loving. Okay. Like, and what's crazy about my mom, which is like almost like a freak moment. Like I don't know how many like brown people are gonna understand what this like comes from mom, but I would like fuck up my exams and do shit, like get terrible reports and teachers complaining and stuff like that. And I'd go back to my mom and I'd be like, this is my report, or these are my results, and she'd be like, did you do your best? And I'd be like, yep. And she'd be like, that's good enough, because you can't lie with that. If I say to you in 2 weeks, or anybody here, when you come back to me with that 2 week summary of you trying this work, my biryani friend over here, and in 2 weeks you've not got the results you want, if I say to you, did you do your best? And you say yes, and you didn't, you're only lying to yourself. So when I told my mom I did my best, well, there's nothing more you can do than your best. I'm not a natural academic. I love the sound of my own voice. I get high off distracting people in class and annoying them. Literally, if I annoy you right now, I'll photosynthesize like a plant. Like my cellular composure will get better by seeing you annoyed. I love it. It's my sunshine. I don't know why it is.
I'm all yours.
So you like irritating
Everybody around me, everybody I know, almost exclusively is grey because of their relationship with me. Yeah.
I'm going to cut that. Please chop, chop, chop.
Yeah.
That's your 1 minute, Samir. That's your 1 minute.
Super. 10:30. I can't believe it. Right? It's just flowing.
You like annoying people.
I love it.
We have
I can fast on annoying people. I can abstain on food for 5 days just seeing people upset.
What triggers inside you?
Wait, Maria, am I lying? These are true, right? These are true facts. When we started hanging out more, you were like, fuck this guy. This is how I am.
So
You're not a people pleaser.
like, you know,
I'm a people because everyone, it's intent, right?
Yeah.
If I, and plus, I'm a Manc. I'm from Manchester. So I might come up to you. Where are you from?
Me?
Yeah.
From India.
Right, whereabouts?
UK. United Kerala.
United Kerala, right? So imagine we meet, right? Imagine we meet, and I go, yo, it's nice to meet you, man. And you go, I go, yo, where you from? And you go?
Kerala.
Ah, sorry about that, mate. That's how we show love in Manchester. By annoying you and teasing you. It's like, yo, I'm cool with you, man. Like,
people like this.
no, I mean, not all, but yeah.
We also has a
Yeah.
fantastic bone in our body.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's just love. It's like, I know if you get past it, then we can sit and have a beer and like, you know, because I'm like, it's like, oh, did you like that little one? And I expect to be hit back. The moment I'm vulnerable or mess up, you should completely jump on me like a rabid dog and embarrass me in front of everybody I know. This is just love.
That's how you bond with your friends.
Yeah.
Do that, yeah.
Think about it. Brothers, cousins, closest friends. That's when all the barriers drop, right? So we're just like that out the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, hi, sorry again. I don't know how it will be useful for you, but I want to use the opportunities, free consultant.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, for my product.
Yeah, but don't apologize. You said sorry. Don't apologize. This is drill it.
Sorry for saying sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just drill it. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, music, I work on a few projects, right? Music is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I don't want to be a motivational speaker, but since 13 years old, I'm searching for meaning in my life, and I got all this.
Let's get the mic so that it gets recorded.
Oh yeah.
Start again.
Okay, so have you heard about vision boards?
Yep.
Yeah. So what I got this idea. Basically, I was thinking like half a year ago, why I never made one for myself. Guys, you know vision boards, right? It's like, yeah, used to. And the reason why was, first I was just, I don't know, lazy to cut these things off. I don't know, it was just. And then second one, I didn't want to share it with everyone if you put it at home. And I mean.
Keep it on your phone screen.
Exactly, but there are a lot of there are apps like that. But whatever you have in a phone screen, right? It's just like it's not visible. It has to be at your home. So I got this idea. Look, and vision boards done now in two ways. Basically, or you take a corkboard and pin your pictures, right? Pictures, or you just cut off what usually people do from magazines.
Yeah.
So what I'm creating now, I'm making a vision board kit where the people will get the board and the number of the dreams.
Yep.
Basically, I'm creating all the dreams for them, for example. And if people say everyone wants different things, I think it's bullshit. I think all normal people who want the same things. Everyone wants to have nice family, loving parents, husband, girlfriend, boyfriend. kids,
Yeah.
money, car, house, travel, things like that. So when I'm creating for each of these spheres, I'm creating, for example, for cities, I created 30 cities, places to visit, cars, 20 cars,
I like
a
this idea.
set.
It's a good idea.
So the set of everything.
Yeah.
And then what you can do, why I made it from from fabric.
Yeah.
And like in the shoes, you have this.
Laces.
It's
Like Crocs, you mean?
Velcro.
yeah, Velcro, yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
So, for example, I don't know, your dream was to go to Maldives. Or
Yeah. Yeah.
So you put it, and then once you've done it, instead of just unglue it, I just don't like this feeling of gluing things, thinning.
You could replace the Maldives with Barcelona.
Yeah, and it's all nice done with this nice
Yeah.
texture, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, how shall I promote this product? This
Where's the product? Where's the product?
at home I have.
You have it?
Yeah, it's not. It's done very like.
Like a prototype here.
Yeah, it's very prototype.
You have a prototype of this right now.
Yeah, at home.
Okay, cool. Here's how you promote it. Take a video on WhatsApp, take a video on your phone, WhatsApp it to 15 people who you genuinely respect and who you think care about you, and get their feedback. And say, you know what? I think that with $100 US or $40 US, I could make my first 5 of these a grade higher. Everybody in for $8? Now, even me and you, I don't know you from a box of biscuits, but if you brought that idea to me and you DM'd it to me on Instagram or whatever, and you were like, I need $8, I need 5 people to give me $8, I've now got $40, and I can go and print out 5 kits with better Velcro, better color composure, and I'll stick the brand name on the top, you got my $8.
So I can make like a Kickstarter in a way.
You don't even need a Kickstarter. You don't need that.
I don't really need money for that. I just need.
Then
to
go.
spread
Then
it.
no, you don't. You need to get 10 and sell 10. You spread the first 10 words. If people like your product, they'll spread 10 times 10, and now you've got demand for the remaining 90.
What you just saying, I just want to add something. It's not about the $8. It's about getting the buy-in and seeing that people will invest in
Proof
the
of
idea,
proof
right?
of concept.
It's a proof of concept. It's not about the money. Actually.
But what you did there that was really good, which I think you glazed over, and I think the whole room glazed over,
Yeah.
is that you explained the concept to me in like under a minute, and I was like, what you're not getting is if you had a bag with you right now, and 3 of them, I would buy 3 from you right now, because I know people
Here's
that
a bag.
I know people that want
This
that.
can put in this, okay?
Yeah.
This is a bag where they put whatever they want.
Yeah, the thing here is, right, what you got to realize, love, is that business is really fucking simple. It's, do you want this shit? Will you give me some money for it?
I'm just getting in this, perfectness loop. Like, everything has to be perfect. Everyone I show, they're like, oh no, but this has to be done like that, in a better way.
Fuck them. I've got money for you right now. I've got 50 dirhams for you in my actual wallet, in these trousers I'm wearing, to give to you if you had that product done. And I would go home tomorrow. I'd go home tonight, and tomorrow when I see my sister, I would give it to her because she's into all that shit. So I would be like, oh, you know how you like me? When I said to you, put the vision board on your phone, it's only because I've seen her do it. So right now, if you've got that actual product, I'll give you 50 dirhams for that right now. I don't care whether it costs you 2 dirhams or 48 dirhams.
It costs a lot for now.
It will. But what you're not realizing is there's a person like me, there's 100 people like me in every neighborhood in Dubai. JLT, Marina, Downtown, Business Bay, the IFC, Al Cruz. We are ready to buy it. What you're doing is you're paralyzing yourself with all these hypothetics instead of just making the freaking product.
I'll get you extreme for free.
Okay.
You thought about doing something like Dragon's Den in Dubai?
No, because I don't really like that shit either.
Okay.
There is a.
I don't like Dragon's Den, I don't like Apprentice, I don't like any of that corny shit. Shark Tank I'm kind of cool with. I met Damon John's partner the other day, and I
But you
can't.
can make a better version of it, why not?
The point is, you know what I'd rather
There are
do?
people like them who are looking for investment and ideas to come out and get it into execution mode.
But here's what you do. Forget all that ideas execution mode. You have, what's your name?
Irina.
Huh?
Irina.
Urina. What you have right now, again, is what I was telling Sunita, right? You have my time now. you have my attention, and you have a little bit of my respect, which means that if you can bring me 10 of them, with my big mouth, I can sell you that 10. I'll sell the 10 and give you all the money because I respect you.
Dragon's Den and Shark Tank, what they do, they give money as investment.
Yeah.
Right? You could do it with time
Yeah,
as a currency.
yeah,
But the mental.
yeah. But you've got to make it. I could be really tough right now and be like, you've got 10 days. Here's a cafe that I'll meet you at in 10 days at 3 o'clock. I need 10 prototypes, 2 different versions, 5 of one, 5 of the other. We'll discuss it, and regardless of how they are, I'll sell them for you, even if I have to buy them off you wholesale. Business is really, really simple.
I'm done. Yes.
Okay, cool, cool.
Okay, let me run this question. Second product.
I have more, but like,
How do you feel about mentoring someone? Because I've actually genuinely, I've listened to all of Gary and all of this kind of stuff, and I eat it up. I literally go to sleep listening to this stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm hungry, thirsty for knowledge, getting it and then sharing it. So what you said about the learning, earning, and returning, I'm like, I'm in the learning and returning, the earning's a bit weak, right? So I can sit here at 2.5 hours and be like, whatever. I can sit here till 6 o'clock in the morning listening to you. I would love to have the opportunity where I can actually learn more from you as a mentee.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
See this guy with the cat behind you?
Michael?
Yeah.
Or Jesus?
Yeah. We'll set up a conversation between the 3 of us and we'll work something out. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, this is another thing I wanted to ask you. For you, you shared to us that, helping others is something that it gives you the high. When people actually, especially when, they come from a very random places and random ways, and it tells you that how you have created an impact to them, it gives you a high. So within that sense, I wanted to ask you that how do you see time in this moment of your life, like at this level of your life? You have had an amazing journey. You've been to the goods, the bad, and you've been to places, people. So at this moment, in your opinion, what does time mean to you right now? Is it all about for others? Is it for your own self? Is it to just create something good for others? What is it? Because at the end of the day, we all are here trying to make better lives, which is actually making our time better, right?
Yeah.
Going forward. So I wanted to know your perspective of, at this level, at this moment of life, in yours, what is this meaning of time for you?
The thing is, it's not exclusively in one bucket. And I'll give you an example why, right? Could I give all my time to other people? Yes, I could. But because the market moves so quick, I'd become outdated from the market if I stopped doing things for myself. And this is where I've kind of like had to explain it to some friends that are just 100% friends and don't understand what I'm trying to do out here. When people say to me, yo, I'm your friend, I'm starting a business, I need to get some advice. It's the reason why I came up with My Friends, Your Friends, and 120 people came out in one night. Is because if I stop doing what I'm doing to help everyone, the reason they approach me in the first place, my quote unquote achievements and success, will dwindle away. So I need time to be in the ring, sparring and boxing myself, to then take time out of the ring to come and show you how to box. If I fully become a coach, then after a period of time, my ability will become redundant.
That is not your core.
Well,
Coaching is not your core.
it's balance, it's yin and yang, right? Trying to manipulate the market the way it is today to stop, come here and tell you, and then go home and then do the same thing again. So I can't put it in one of either bucket. I love to give and bear it, and this is crazy. This is a point I've been thinking about all day. Like when it comes to like giving, there was a debate on Instagram today about like when people offer their mentoring online, and it was in a similar vein of people saying, I want to start my own social media agency. I'm like, go get customers. There was an argument online today, which is like, if you're asking for people to mentor, then you must have too much free time on your hands and you're not successful enough. And I spent a bit of time thinking about that, and I was like, yes and no. I think if I step up and say I'm offering some mentorship and it's a month, people will jump out of their seats to take it because they see me working out here. They see me shipping projects, VaynerWorld, projects with, you know, I don't know, what else are we doing? My friends, your friends. Different brands that we've got. I've also got a podcast with Fat Man Scoop, 2-time Grammy Award winner, called OPP, Other People's Podcasts, where we review other people's podcasts. He comes at it from a point of view of a celebrity rapper. I come at it from the point of view of like an entrepreneur and marketer. So like, if those things dwindled away, you might not find me as attractive to come and talk to about where it is that you want to go next. So it's about both. Wife, mistress, right? You just gotta like, yeah, you can't be all about like mentorship and giving and rah rah rah. Like I'm not trying to be no one's guru, but I will stop doing what I'm doing to give to people. Oh, this was the point I was trying to make. And don't forget how much I get from this. Do you know the amount of profit I've got today by knowing what people are trying to achieve? Because I can just sit in my bubble, right? I can just wake up, have a sweet potato, do some business, hang out, listen to some music, go to bed. I can live in that bubble. But that's not beneficial because, again, over a period of time, I'll become blunt. So it's a huge honor and privilege for me to be here with you, trying to get a sense of what it is that you're trying to do with your life, so that when I go and talk to other people, I can take what you want, take what they want, take what the next group want, compound it, and then when I do go on camera and say something, I can make it as meaningful and concise and efficient and respectful of the person's time who's watching the content. Because I'm taking 15 people in this room, multiplied by 60 in another, multiplied by 3 in another. You know what I mean? So actually it's a huge, and I should actually say, like, I'm grateful for the platform that you've created here and for the fact that you've invited me onto it. And I'm grateful for everyone's time and attendance, because this is supposed to be like a 1 hour talk plus 1 hour of another talk or some fun and games. And the fact that everybody is still sat here listening, minus people that have stuff to do, 2 people that have left, like it's a huge privilege. Like I don't underestimate this. I don't underestimate the fact that 2 eyes are always looking at me on everybody at all times. No one, like, people are rarely fucking with their phones or, you know, doing shit.
This is the second time it's happened.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so impressed.
Just a vegan, you know?
Even those who left, you know how many people left, how many people came back?
Yeah.
I came all the way from another event.
And I have a Spartan race tomorrow to practice for.
Spartan race. All right, well, let's get you some sleep then. Everybody's good?
Samir, Spartan race?
Yeah, last week.
And
Observations, we have to give observations.
Yeah.
We need to cut that out of the video.
Yeah.
But
That's all
yes.
good.
Who's Spartan?
So we have this deck of cards over here, but before you pick a card and you'll reflect on what it says.
Uh-huh.
It has a quote on the side.
Okay, got you.
But before you say what it says,
Uh-huh.
we'll take reflections. What did you get from the conversation that we had today? What are you taking away?
Since I have the mic.
Okay. What are you taking away?
I learned a new perspective of the world potential. Today I knew what does it mean someone dying, not reaching his potential. Thank you for bringing that out loud.
Thank you, and thank you for being kind with this water and tea. I've actually been sipping on this tea. If I become addicted now, I'm going to come to your house and kick your ass. I don't need any more addictions. But this is delicious.
Yeah, kick my ass, I'll be famous.
What, did somebody make this? Is this somebody's brand?
This chai.
Chai video.
This, him, you. This shit is wicked. And bear in mind, I drank chai once.
You can give a testimony on the video for the chat.
Yeah, I drank chai.
Put a hashtag chai period.
I drank chai for the first time at 19 years old on 74th Street in Brooklyn with a Pakistani family. And then I was like, still not for me. And maybe two times tops. And when I say drank, I meant sipped. To make it to the halfway mark of a cup means that you are basically like Elon Musk of chai. Yeah. Right.
Super. What are you guys taking away?
Who wants the mic?
I can say.
Oh, you're taking
You launched your own business just now.
Yeah, I have a company basically almost. Thank you so much for being so open, and this week that we will meet in 10 days. It gives me like more inspiration to work, and like thank you that you believe in me. You know.
I do.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
But what are you taking away from the message?
A lot of hard work the next 10 days.
Lovely. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Actually, a couple of things, but one of them is like business is simple kind of thing. You just like
Yeah.
you need like 10 people just to start or so whatever. And something you said about like you've been like watching your parent and stuff, so it's like you've been influenced by the people around you, which is very
To that point as well, I think another motivator, which I've spoken about in the past online, is that when I was 23 and the internet was shit and I wrote a thesis and companies took my thesis and didn't give me any feedback and just stole it, and I'd try and get jobs and the market crashed, NASDAQ crashed. At 23, the reason why I would give up having a new car and hustling and all that and go to Canada and start like working on a boat is because I didn't have the right mentorship. Can you imagine? I think everyone's got a good sense of me over the last 3 hours. Can you imagine at 23 years old if I'd gone to Silicon Valley in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Or can you imagine at 23 years old if I took the salary that I used to buy a new car when mortgages were 100% mortgage in London, if I'd bought a property, how rich I'd be, how connected I'd be right now. I didn't have the mentorship. And I think I have a bit of a chip on my shoulder, which is that if I meet somebody who doesn't have what I've unlocked in myself, I will take time out to help that person, because I feel a bit cheated that when I was 23, the people I tried to go to for help, I mean, guys, I got rejected from 3 fucking McDonald's.
Why?
3 McDonald's. I would go to McDonald's in a suit to try and get a job, and I got rejected. So I think when I looked for mentorship, when I looked for work, when I looked for shit, I wasn't getting it. So now when I see people that are quote unquote in need or have an absence of contextual knowledge, like knowledge that they can apply practically, I get a bit pissed off. I kind of run a bit of an orphanage. If you look at everybody around me, they're like 24 years old, like trying to come up. He's not even the first one, he's like the 6th.
you adopted a lot.
We finally found
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Like it's crazy, and I love it. I go to bed well rested, being like.
But the reason, again, we're going into the conversation, but the reason why you are who you are is because you failed so many times and you learn from that. And when you're mentoring, sometimes you're robbing an opportunity for somebody to fail, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a great thing that I tell my clients. I say everybody knows what social media is. Everybody knows we live in a world where Google and Apple and Facebook and Microsoft and Amazon, they're gonna be the storytellers of technology for the next probably couple of decades, right? We know that. Can you just help me just not fuck up or avoid the main ones and then be there for me when I naturally do? I'd be like, yeah, cool, I'm open to that, because it's a rush for me, don't forget. What a privilege it is to see a 24-year-old fuck up today, and I'm 38. And I can just go and live in my cocoon and be like, I'm chilling, fuck everybody else. But I don't want to do that.
Super. What are you taking?
Did I cut you off and go all Kanye then? Sorry.
No, I have a question actually. How do you stay focused?
How do I stay focused?
It's 11.
I thought it was reflections, not questions.
Yeah, reflections, not questions.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I can tell you this. I can compare focused to unfocused. I went to Bali last year for a month, and in actual practical like net terms, it was probably like 3.8 weeks, because the first 1.2 weeks of that 4 weeks was me being like, oh fuck, like I'm not at work, and there's a palm tree and a coconut. Like, I can tell you that going from where I am right now in this mental state to being like, oh my God, I'm actually on holiday, let me be present in the moment that I'm in, there is a down period. So I don't know. I know when I'm in this zone, I stay in this zone. And I am very happy, extremely happy to stay like this until the last week of June, which is when my birthday is. And when it's my birthday, it's time to turn up. But like, otherwise, I'm happy to stay like this. I don't need no breaks. I don't need no hugs. If I'm sick, I'll take a Lemsip. If I have a bad day, I don't need anyone to hug it out with. Fuck that. I just want to get straight back to it the next day. I'm constantly in the state.
Because one reflection is like you said, you're like, I locked myself in a room alone, so I was thinking,
Yeah.
focus.
Because you know what, I want to do something valuable. There was this dude at a conference at the Arabian Hotel Investment Conference. He's a bit of a weird cat, but like he's a sponsor, so he gets some stage time. And he was talking about like, you know, people talk about return on investment. Everyone's familiar with that concept, right? So he was talking about that in the context of holidays and tourism. And he was saying, we don't live in a world now where people buy holidays and want return on investment. They want return on their experience. Holidays are about experiences now. It's not about 5-star hotels. It's about kayaking and being able to go to an ethical restaurant afterwards or wherever your shtick is, right? And I was sat there, and I don't know if I was like high on coffee or what it was, but I was thinking about that in the context of what I do and why people are constantly posting on Instagram and constantly Snapchatting and constantly like, you know, why I looked through a girl's Instagram just yesterday and I was like, damn, this girl's hot. And I went all the way back through her Instagram, and you never guessed that as I went back through her Instagram over months and months and months, more and more clothes. Which means as we get to the more recent content, it's like cleavage, bikinis. I was like, okay, why are we marking ourselves on these pyramid walls that we call social media? Because it's not about return on investment or the time that you invest in social media. It's not about return on the experience of social media, because the experience leaves a lot of us fucked up with like anxiety and stuff like that. It's about return on existence. It's about feeling like I was here.
Yeah.
And us all knowing that we're mortal and could go tomorrow, and at least that Instagram account might somewhat tell our story. You know what I mean? At least the fact that before I used to have to go to into my loft and get that childhood photo book. Yeah. But now I don't. I just go click, click, and there's young Johnny being born again. Yeah. It's that. And also social media is not as much about constantly like trying to consume content. This is an argument I'm still putting together in my head, so excuse me if I fuck it up, but like I think what we want to do as human beings, because when we think about God and the Lord and God being everywhere and all this kind of stuff, it's a metaphor that at least we hear, even if we're atheists, we hear this concept, right? I think the reason why Instagram and Facebook and all this shit does so well is because when you log in, you become omnipresent. I can go and see what's happening in your world. How was the vegan food festival? How is the band doing? How was that trip back to London? How was the time you were doing squats? I don't know enough about you because you've barely spoken, but you get my drift. Like,
my
but
question is about women empowerment. How can I brand well?
talk to another woman and put the content out. Yeah. Talk to and also at the same time, map every other woman that's doing what it is that you want to do, and man, and people in other countries that are a little bit more tricky, and other countries that are a little bit more liberal. What you've got to play in the whole ecosystem. You've got to know what's your name, love?
Iman.
You've got to know what Iman in Chicago is doing, the equivalent of Iman, like the equivalent of you. Yeah, it might be Malala in Chicago. It might, and then you've got to know who the equivalent of Iman is in Sydney and Sudan and Syria and Berlin. You've got to know exactly what's going on. I know what other Raj Kotechas are doing.
Yeah.
I know who the hustlers are in the cities that I give a shit about. I can turn up tomorrow in Vegas, LA, New York, London, Sydney, Singapore, put a tweet out, not fuck Twitter, I can put a Facebook message out or Instagram, be like, yo, I'm in the city, who's doing what? And even if that person doesn't know who I am yet, their cousin or the person they work with or somebody who knows that they're in town will connect us up in the DMs, and I'll straight away be with other people like me. You've got to be part of the ecosystem. You can't be a bird in the cage, you've got to be out there like flying. So if you want to do women's empowerment, you should be able to whip out your phone right now and pull out 30 people that think like you do or have a similar goal or a similar outlook as a basis to go out and meet people that don't think like you do and create a positive change. That Sarah Al-Madani, whatever her name is, I rock with her a lot. I like her whole vibe. Yeah, she was supposed to be at the last event. She couldn't make it to the government thing, but like people like that, for example, I don't follow that movement. It's not one of the channels I'm following.
If you know anybody, let me know.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Any more reflections? We need to go.
This is your office, right?
No, I mean, I just got to wake up tomorrow early.
No, this guy's got to jump in a. What are you doing, Iron Man?
I'm not ready for it, but
Spartans training.
Yeah.
5 kilometer race with obstacles.
God damn.
They made it really hard this year.
Don't tell me about it.
You're gonna breeze through. You can walk it. It's okay.
So we all good?
We good? Yes.
All right. The card says.
Before the card.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when we spoke about social media, everyone was commenting on the bad content on social media. So I'd like to leave everyone with a message. I think my biggest reflection today that if we, whom we are having the patience and energy to sit for 3 hours and more to listen to you, don't come on social media and become more influencers, I think we're giving space to bullshitters to take over. And if we don't do that now, we will not be able to inspire new generations. I think from what this message is, you're leaving us with a responsibility that if you don't become influencers and successful
Good things.
content on that internet, the new generations which will grow up will see will have to choose whether whom to follow. I was talking to my cousin the other day, and we were talking about the new generation, the family, not following their parents, but following the stars and celebrities. Them seeing the followers as a significant sign of who's right and who's wrong. So if I don't have 1,000 followers now, I can't be the person who will advise any kid in the family.
Yeah.
So I think this made us really.
I think also another way of saying what you're saying is, if you don't get into the social media as work, what you're doing is you're leaving money on the table.
I think maybe what you're saying is that old saying of be the change you seek, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to do it, just do it. Like at the end of the day, I've given you 3 hours right now. I can easily do another 9, but the point being is, in that 3 hours, you can probably chop up 100 1-minute clips.
Yeah.
So now, of all the shit content on the internet and Kim Kardashian twerking in a swimming pool, you can now add an extra 100 good, valuable clips.
Yeah.
So the ratio is going to change. You know what I mean? You can put 100 clips out of my stuff tomorrow. You can put 5 on your account, 5 on yours, 5 on yours. And then Donald Trump will say some dumb shit and all the attention will go there, or Kanye will say something, and then the content will come back to you. But somebody might be following you who's not following them, which means you've made more of a positive impact. I think like pontificating and getting stuck in all the horse shit about what's good and what bad is not good, because the whole world doesn't report to you and you don't report to the whole world. So just, if you can at least take what I've said and optimize your own like life and goals, then you've won.
Super.
I mean, I think it's the energy at the end of the day, right? It's basically, I mean, in these 3 hours, what you have like created an energy, people have consumed this energy exactly the same way in our journeys. That energy would be reflected on different social media, or maybe some other person is saying who might actually reflect back on a social media. I mean, it's at the end, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one point to another point, right? So
That's true. Shall I read this?
Yes.
Yes,
One of the
please.
best awesome worker sessions we have.
Respect, man. Thank you. Strategy is about asking 5 simple questions. Where is your business now? Where do you wish to take your business in the future? How do you plan to get there? Why does your business matter? And is your business progressing to its destination? I would add to that by saying, are you doing what the fuck you love?